Tick-tock, time to rock. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everyone who's watching from all over the world. It's your friendly neighborhood philosopher here, D. Wood. With me now, I got Chris from Speaker's Corner. How you doing, man?
Doing good, thank you, David.
And we've got Jai and DOC here. How you guys doing?
What is up? We are happy that we are not on any lists.
Yes, and we're on our own list. Just Jai and DOC. That's it.
Lists? What lists? What kind of lists could you be? It could be fun to be on lists. Like, for instance, if someone made greatest apologists who crush Islam with the Islamic dilemma, you'd want to be on that list. So,
Oh, I'm on the list,
What-
but
what-
you don't want to be on this list.
what kind of list would you not want to be on? There's all sorts of cool lists.
Well, I'll let everyone find out on your next stream on that topic, and they're all going to find out about this. People are debating whether they call it the Dawa Diddy list or the Epstein Dawa list. People are still voting on what exactly Epstein or Diddy. They don't know yet, but it's one of those lists
I vote
that you
Diddy.
don't want to be on.
Iteration,
Diddy?
man. Diddy Dower list is good.
Could it be the Al Zut list?
The Al Zut list.
Someone's saying it's Al Zut list. All right. So anyway, guys, yeah, that's that'll be later. So we're gonna do this live stream. This is responding to Brother Hajji, who attempted to respond to the Islamic dilemma. We'll see what kind of awesome job he did. But yes, later at 8 p.m., I'll be live with Hatun and Thaddeus and anyone else who wants to jump in. But we'll be going through. Wow, I was telling people there was more to come out with this story, and my goodness, 75 people, 75 Dawagandists all rallied around hijab to throw people off the trail. This is bad. This is a guy who's willing to take down all of Dawa for the entire future just to avoid apologizing for something. Wow, 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 wow. Priorities, am I right?
Yeah.
Hey, so
It's a bad day to be a Dawa guy.
It's a really bad day. Every last Dawa
Isn't
guy
every day? Every
panicking.
day's a bad day to be a Dower guy.
Every single one of them is panicking right now about whether they're on the list, and not just that. It's the issue of who leaked all the messages. So who amongst us is a spy? That's the question.
We think it might be one of the wives of the Dawa gang.
Oh yeah, we did speculate that. That would have been epic.
While he's sleeping, she got his phone. You know what I mean?
And she's taking screenshots and sending them to Salman. Well, what a dysfunctional group. So you guys are voting. You guys are suggesting one of the wives. I don't know if Fareed is on the list, but if Fareed is on the list, I vote for Reed. I vote for Reed as the leaker.
Could be.
Yeah.
It was in his name for a while. Everyone was calling him Fareed Leaks. So, guys, if anyone out there doesn't know what we're talking about, if you remember the holes in the narrative interview, one of the most horrifying moments in history for Dawa, that was courtesy of multiple things lined up to bring that about. But one of the things was Fareed leaked a bunch of messages from Yasser Qadi showing that what Yasser Qadi was saying to one group of people was very different from what he was saying behind the scenes and so on. Called him out to clarify. Mohammed Hijab thought, oh, I will fix this. I will just get this guy live and demand that he say that the Quran has been perfectly preserved. And then it was a horrible, horrible, horrible disaster for Dawa. And now the same guys that brought you that are bringing you new stuff. Is awesome times.
Maybe Yasser Qadi's getting his revenge. Maybe Yasser Qadi's getting his revenge. And
Yeah,
he's like,
Yasser Qadi leaked it. Yasser Qadi leaked it.
They could leak on me. I'll leak on them.
Yeah, Yasser Qadi is waiting for his moment. Hey, they destroyed my career. I'll teach all these guys who they're messing with.
he's gonna take down like 75 of them at once.
Yeah. He's like a villain.
He's been planning this one for years. He's been planning it for years. Wow. All right, so Chris, we're going through a video by Brother Hajji, I don't know if that's his name or his just channel name or nickname or whatever, but he's out from around your way, isn't he? Like out there, that's one of the speaker's corner type guys. So he might possibly or probably someone who might be on some list somewhere. But anyway,
well,
what do you know about him?
I don't know. We're gonna wait for the like I said, the Epstein files. We're gonna wait for the Diddy Dower list to come out, I guess. Which Salman, if you're watching, please do. We're very keen to see who is on that list. So I think he has gone to Speaker's Corner a few times. If you look at his channel intro, he does have clips of him that looks like it's at Speaker's Corner, so I'm pretty sure he has been there at least a few times. Now, I know Brother Hajji, and I say that in a very loose sense. I haven't met him. I haven't spoke with him personally, but I've seen his content, and I know he's seen my content. He's somewhat responded a little bit to my content. And I do have to give Brother Hajji credit. I actually really like most of his videos. He seems quite sincere as a person, and he actually calls out many of the people on this list, potentially, for doing lots of, how can I put it gently, scammy behavior. He's called out Hamza from Hamza's Den. He's called out Sean King, I think is the latest guy he's gone after, who is now apparently a Muslim. And he's also gone after, Bobby's Perspective, the vegan guy. And he's called all these people out, and I've also called these people out. So a lot of our content is kind of related and drawn the same audience in. So I respect him for that. For some reason, he's decided to now go to the Islamic dilemma, and that's really interesting. I don't know why, Brother Hajj, you've got into this. Maybe you were watching some of my stuff and were like, I need to respond to this. I don't know, but it seems as if maybe Muslims have been messaging him saying, Brother Hajji, can you please respond to the Islamic dilemma? And he seems to have got the impression that it's coming from God Logic in particular, which God Logic is pushing the Islamic dilemma pretty big as well. So, that's what I know from Brother Hajji. So he's an interesting guy.
Yeah, and I wasn't familiar with them until Jai messaged me and said that he'd responded to the Islamic dilemma and that we could go through the video and stuff. And then, when I clicked on that video, then the next one that came up from him was the Sean King video. I actually watched a few minutes of it, but yeah, I was pointing out that. So guys, in the rest of the world, you might not know who Sean King is. Sean King in the United States is known as a grifter. They call him Talcum X because he's white, but has spent years pretending that he's black and so on. So that he can claim victim status. Anyway, like just constant grifter, scam. And all of a sudden, I think it was like last year, he said he's converted to Islam and that he's going to raise funds for the people of Gaza. And that's what Brother Hajji was calling him out for. He was saying this guy has a system set up where he collects donations, but he gets 10% of the donations for his services of asking for the donations. And therefore, however much money he got, he was taking 10%. And Brother Hajji was saying, you're seriously taking 10% from people from the donations that are supposed to go to people in Gaza. So didn't like that. He didn't like that one bit. But yeah, to his credit, he does seem like someone willing to call this stuff out, which is very different from the people around hijab. They don't like calling stuff out. Well, at least if
that's right.
At least not if it's Muhammad Hijab's stuff, because he's got dirt on all of them and he will destroy. He'll take all of them down. That is the message. I will take all of you down with me. So make sure I don't go down.
So here's where it gets a little controversial, right? So I look at the comments and I look at kind of how people are reacting to Brother Hajji's videos. Most people really like his content because I think it is genuinely good content that he makes. But there is a question that pops up every once in a while, which is, why has he not done any videos on Muhammad Hijab? Because he has covered basically every poor behavior from so many of these Dawah guys. But for some reason, Muhammad Hijab has got a pass. And now I think did we say earlier that we've seen him in some video with Muhammad Hijab, and maybe he's friends with him. I'm not sure.
His video intro. I cut off the intro because it's got a nasheed on there, and I don't know to what extent that's copyrighted and so on. But yeah, in the intro, it's him and Muhammad Hijab prancing around like besties. So
Really?
I mean, think about that. So he's calling. Yeah, that's a good point, Chris. He's calling out all this other stuff, and yet in his video intros, it's him and Muhammad Hijab, who seems to be significantly worse than Sean King in the stuff that he's done. Keep in mind, we're not just talking about his hotel wife scandal. It's that he's apparently been doing this for. There are probably a lot of hotel wives. Let's face it. But then it's the fact that he's willing to just tear down everyone around him, drag everyone into the mud with him, and destroy dawah completely in order to avoid admitting that he was wrong. And so, Brother Hajji, got your next video all lined up for you. We're
waiting.
We gave you soft, easy pitch. This is a layup, man. This should be a layup. You just do it. Yeah, just play the video. Just play the Behind Veils video, do a long live stream, and apologize for associating with Muhammad Hijab and call him out. Leslie's got some stuff on you. Then you probably want to bury that. Just bury it. That's how they do it.
My exposure to him was through. You remember when Sneeko had all these doubts about Islam because he found out that Yemenis are superior, and then Sheikh Uthman came to save the day. And that was the famous thing with like Osman Hakim, and he's like, "Get out of my house!" You know, like that was that famous thing. And so anyway, Sheikh Uthman came and he tried to save the day with that. Hajji did a video exposing Uthman and saying no, that it wasn't a weak hadith. It's actually authentic hadith. And you know, he was actually exposing that Uthman was a complete liar and he lied to Sneeko. So that was my exposure to him. And I think you've seen him.
Wait a minute. Hold on. You guys are suggesting that Sheikh Uthman, the guy who faked a hate crime against himself and then said that the guy was had been arrested and tried, convicted, sentenced, and was in prison and converted to Islam. That guy, the guy who tried to help his buddy out with some marital counseling and then ended up having sex with the guy's wife and then marrying the guy's wife, even though she was already married. So she's married to two men. You're saying this guy might actually be dishonest?
Oh, yeah. And Brother Hajji over here called him out on it.
And
so.
he did a pretty good job, actually, exposing the hadiths and, you know, the isnads and, you know, all that from the Arabic and everything. So I was pretty disappointed with his reply to the Islamic dilemma. Number one, it was very short. And two, he didn't realize that it was about something else. And it doesn't look like he has a lot of, not as much knowledge as I thought he would. Knowing the hadith and the seerah, I would have thought Quran would be more deep. So, but I actually like Bro Hajji. Like, I like that he calls out the scams, the money hungry stuff, the mistakes, the obvious mistakes, like Sheikh Uthman, who's obviously not a sheikh because he can't pronounce the Quran and all that stuff.
Yeah, and I liked Brother Hajji because he was so yeah, I agree completely. Like when I clicked on that video, I was expecting something better. I think his response is, well, I'm trying to be nice here because he seemed nice, but not good, not a good response, and not coming within a trillion miles of actually responding to the Islamic dilemma. But what I liked was he was saying, hey, why don't we just get together for a discussion on this? Why don't we just talk about it and go through the verses and stuff and get to the bottom of this? Like, yes, that should be every dawah guy. If you think there's a response to this, that should be what every dawah guy is saying right now. Why would you not want to sit down? If you can refute the argument, why not just sit down and refute it? So, guys, just to clarify, he's going to say in this video that he would like to have a discussion about the Islamic dilemma, presumably to try to show us that we're imagining this. Do we all accept here in advance? We all accept that challenge?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
100%.
We accept, Brother Hajji. We could do it this week. We could do it this week, or we could do it the week after. So
Anytime.
we accept anytime.
Anytime.
We're ready. Brother Hajji, you can leave a response to this live stream whenever you're probably watching tomorrow or something like that. But when you see this live stream, leave a comment on how to get in touch with you, what website or whatever to get in touch with you, and happy to set something up. All right, guys, should we go ahead and jump into this video?
Yes.
Let's do it.
All right.
Yep.
Let's see if Brother Hajji's got something for us.
الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين ما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Hey, DOC, I'm guessing his Arabic is significantly better than Sheikh Uthman's.
Yes. You could tell he's not native, but it's pretty good.
He tries really hard.
He tries really hard.
Yeah.
I'm thinking this is for our benefit, maybe, so that we can think that he's better than the rest. He's just doing the usual, praises to Muhammad and praises to Allah and all that stuff. The stuff that is unnecessary when you're speaking to Christians. It's meant to intimidate, but it just bores me to death at this point. I don't know what effect it has on you two.
Yeah, it's never impressed me even slightly. It's always like, who is this? It's like when Hijab is in an interview and someone asks him a question and he doesn't know how to answer and he just starts babbling in Arabic. It's like it seems like that's made to impress. I don't know. Is it like a flex to your fellow Muslims or something like that? Because if it's meant to impress us, it's not.
Well,
I'm gonna be on the side of Brother Hajji now, but I think one thing I like about this guy is I get the impression so far, right, that he is at least trying to be more pious than Muhammad Hijab. And I know that's setting the bar really low, but I feel like he is actually trying to follow his religion and trying to be a good person and how he sees it, and that comes across to me that he's trying to be pious, right? I know that's in a way for show because he's a public figure and he's doing this online, but definitely not impressed by it because there are Christians who can do this as well now at Speaker's Corner. You hear it so many times, you just recite the thing even though you know nothing about Arabic whatsoever. Doesn't make you look any better.
Yeah,
that's why I was surprised that this guy actually wants to have a discussion because so I didn't actually watch the video. What I did is I went over to, because I know from his videos in the past, when he's giving sources, he puts it on the screen. So I just kind of like skimmed over, how YouTube, it lets you like preview the next parts or whatever. So I just previewed until he showed sources. I got to that part and he was reading it in Arabic on the screen. And then I listened to the point that he was making based off of that. And I was thinking, if this guy actually wants to have a live discussion with us, like, you're not going to have all this prepped, like Sajid kind of prep to like read your Arabic like 50 times so you can get a good recording or something like that. I'm just saying, like, if he wants to have a discussion with us, we'd love to, but he's not going to be able to, impress anybody with his Arabic. So
if he wants to bring an Arabic friend, that's
bring your Arabic friends. Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah.
Hey, Jay, did you hear that, Brother Hajji? You can bring the best Arabic speaker you have to help you out. Open invitation. We don't know how we can be any more inviting than we are right now. We're being extremely welcoming and inviting right now. So open. And
I could just say real quick as well, Brother Hajji, if you are watching this or you do watch this at some point, and we do have this discussion, it will be calm, it will be relaxed. We can have a good dialogue, right? We won't just yell at you and make fun of things. We'll be sincere and calm and respectful.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's
All
right.
right. Here's Brother Hajji responding to the Islamic dilemma.
I haven't really invested much time in Muslim-Christian polemical discussions. And I make it clear and apparent that I'm not the most well-versed in the Bible, its passages, its verses, etc. Even though I've got a gift from Zakir Hussain, it's over there somewhere.
Oh, Zakir Hussain.
You got something from Zakir Hussain? Dude, that's...
I guarantee he's on the list.
Hussain.
I guarantee you Zakir Hussein's on the list.
Wait, isn't that the guy that debated Mike Brown?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I think I know. He says he's got a book from Zakir Hussein. They did come out, like a couple of the guys got together and made a book on Muhammad in the Bible.
And they use you as clickbait for it. They're like, David Wood's Nightmare just got published, and
I went to
it.
one section of that. I went to one section of that to see what they were arguing. It was one of the most deceptive things I've ever seen in my life. Like flat out. Whoever did their research for them knows that he's freaking lying. You have to. You can't not know it. And so that was my first impression. So I rapidly lost interest in this. But to his credit, because we're talking about why we like this guy a little more, he starts off by saying, I don't know a lot about the Bible stuff. And that's very different from any random Dawa guy who would claim to be an expert, even though he's completely clueless.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree.
It's nice. It's like a total opposite of Muhammad Hijab, right?
Yeah.
Like he's thumping his chest and this guy's like, I don't know what this is. I mean, I don't really know the Bible that well. I got this book on my shelf, but I don't know.
Yeah, any other Dawa guy is going to be like, I was a priest and a pope for 50 years, before I reverted, yeah. And so I've got the whole Bible memorized in these original languages. And and then they don't know the most basic information about the Bible.
But he does set you up for expecting him to fail, because he says, look, I haven't spent enough time in this. I don't know much about the Bible. So that tells me, okay, you haven't spent, but surely you would have spent enough time on the Islamic dilemma, because that's the issue. Because we're not asking Muslims to know the Bible for the Islamic dilemma. Mm-hmm. So you can tell that he's not confident already. And I know that's humble, but it's also gives a little hint to his followers that, I don't.
He's not going to do that well.
If they come back with something, I'm not the best, which I appreciate.
Mm-hmm. But then he goes out and says, I'm happy to have a discussion with God Logic about this, which is like so weird to me. It's like, I don't really know this that well, but I'll go talk with a Christian about it. I don't know.
He specified God Logic?
Yeah, he said God Logic because the clip he's responding to was on God Logic's channel. So,
okay. Yeah. But the thing is that we're on it, so I don't know. I'm hoping he'd still have a talk with us, with David on your channel.
Yeah,
that makes sense, because the thumbnail was directed towards God Logic. He did like the whole
so he would have gotten that from God Logic's channel. So he got a video from God Logic's channel and cut out a clip of it. But Brother Hajji, I have not confirmed with God Logic, but I'm about 100% certain that if you want to have a discussion on God Logic's channel, God Logic would be completely happy to do that. We're happy to have you here on this channel. Chris would be happy to have you on his channel. Jai and DOC would be happy to have you on their channel. So we're all fine. So ball's in your court. All right, back to Brother Hajji.
Relation with different du'at, and they compiled a good book, but I just need to go through it to enhance my knowledge. But nevertheless,
going through a Zakir Hussein book is not going to enhance your knowledge unless you're looking for knowledge of how to lie to your fellow Muslims, and you don't seem like you're interested in that sort of thing. So, but hey, Brother Hajji, let me go ahead and tell you, if you think that book has good knowledge in it, you can go through that book, find what you regard as the absolute smackdown best argument, and then bring it here and we'll go through it, and then hopefully you'll see what you're dealing with and your fellow Dawa guys.
Recently, brothers have been sending me videos regarding a challenge.
Oh, hey, that's funny. That's funny. He just admits what we always suspect, that people are, Toad, how do you respond to this? That's
another thing I like about him. He didn't try and I'm just making this video totally out of the blue for no apparent reason. I just woke up and thought, the Islamic dilemma. Let's do a video on that. He's like, no. Muslims send me this and they ask me to address this. And I'm like, thank you. It's good to know that we have that kind of impact. So I appreciate him in his honesty there.
But didn't Mimi Hijab say, I've never seen this anyone be convinced by this, blah blah.
That's what we're talking about. Like we know for a fact, because since all these guys start freaking out and posting videos about the Islamic dilemma around the same time that we started pushing it really hard, it's pretty obvious that their fans are coming to them going, you need to respond to this. We don't know how to respond to this. It's obvious. So then Hijab like, what is this Islamic dilemma whereof you speak? I'm not familiar with this, but let me just off the top of my head try to respond to it.
Yeah, right.
We've got to we got to appreciate the honesty here of him. Just so lots of people are messaging me saying, "Hey, we need to know how to respond to this."
That's great.
It's refreshing, man. It's refreshing.
Really good.
Yeah, it's very encouraging.
So, Brother Hajji, we already like you significantly better than a lot of your fellow da'is who are compulsive liars. You don't come across that way. All right.
Yeah, please just don't disappoint us like Sajid. Please don't just right. Like imagine if he does.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Sajid really.
This is the alphabet, and this is a book, and this is.
No, he's better than that.
Okay, he's better than that. Okay. All
right. I backed it up a few seconds. Here we go.
But nevertheless, recently, brothers have been sending me videos regarding a challenge.
Look, guys, we should clip that so we have that handy. We know people are complaining.
Yep.
Such.
Good idea.
If that's the right word. Regarding the Islamic dilemma. And I think, from what I've understood, is that there's a dilemma from the Islamic sources regarding the scriptures of the Torah and the Injil, or the Bible. And the argument, and at the end of the video I'll pose a challenge or a request, more so.
We accept. In advance, we accept.
We accept.
We accept your challenge.
Regarding having this discussion, regarding this so-called Islamic dilemma, regarding the Islamic sources. But what I want to do, I spoke to a dear brother of mine from the Dawah, and he asked me to shorten my videos as such. Yeah.
Which person on the list was this?
Oh, so that's interesting because I remember when Chris, you did like something on Hamza, and Bro Hajji did something too, and that video that he did was like 50 minutes long. And now it makes sense that people were complaining to him like, hey, your videos are too long. So now it makes sense. So this one was a lot shorter for that reason, because people are complaining to him about it.
I'm grateful. But he does go around the same point a lot in his other videos, the long videos.
So maybe that's what they were complaining
And even
about.
here in this video, he does repeat the same point 2-3 times.
Okay. Well, hey, there's no time constraints if you want to come on here. You want to come on here or Godlogic's channel, you can take all the time you want to. Lay out your
5 hours, man. 5-6 hours. No problem.
Yeah. Lay out your best arguments. And go for it. Yeah,
bring all your sources you have,
and bring whoever you want to. Bring your friend with you.
Hang on, guys. There's a couple super chats. I was going to do the super chats later, but there's one that's about his. There's one that's about him. So I want to just there's a couple. I'll go through them real quick to get to the one that just popped up. Is there lodging options at the conference? You'll have to check with L, but yeah, I mean there's hotels by there. So D would do. Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormons had the same God as Christians. I would say that seriously depends on what you mean, but if you mean what I mean, I would say no. Is the short angry Muslim with a kafir hit? Is it the short angry Muslim with a kafir hit list?
Which one?
Yeah, which one? That could be multiple people.
Oh, I know who he's talking about. The doxer. Yeah, the doxer.
That's
the guy the guy who doxed our buddy.
The one who shall not be named.
Yeah, that guy. He's definitely on. I know for a fact he's on the list because.
Wait, are you talking about? Is it Ijaz? I know he doxed someone. Ijaz.
Actually, it was Mary who actually found out that he's on the list, because what she did was. She went to the videos where Muhammad Hijab said, hey guys, comment, because the first comments matter the most. So comment, guys, and then we'll like your comments and blah, blah. It's going to help the algorithm. Well, she found that he was doing it on his actual account, and he was one of the early comments.
Yeah, he responded to what was on the group chat.
Yeah. So she found out, so he's on the list then, because he's, taking his commands. So yeah, he's definitely on the list. But that's not a surprise, because we all know he's a liar and just he's like the scum of the earth.
And he was on the live stream where they talked to Aisha.
That's right. Yeah.
With him and Hashim.
Yeah, that's right.
And they did talk about that on the leaked comments.
Yeah, guys. So everyone is watching. They're, we've just shown that if someone is, he's different and nice and trying and doesn't come across as a lying scumbag, we're happy to give credit where credit is due. I can say Ijaz is an evil, lying, racist scumbag.
No, he is.
Yeah,
He
he
is.
is.
Evil, lying, racist scumbag. And happy to defend that to anyone who would challenge me on that one. Let's see here. How do Muslims explain the horrendous Sharia passage of 12:3 in Reliance of the Traveler that excuses every bizarre perversion so bad they don't even translate it to English?
We'd have to see that.
Have to see it, yeah.
Yeah, we're kind of on a different topic now, but yes, there's all sorts of messed up stuff there. But DOC, if you want to screenshot that or check it out later.
I know most Muslims wouldn't know about these passages. That's my quick answer.
I know that Osama Dakdok has like a presentation on this, and he does go over like here's the English, here's the Arabic, and then there are some sections where it's like the English is completely not translated at all. So if that's one of those instances, yeah, it usually is some sexually deviant kind of thing.
It's all about like bestiality and horrific orgy stuff, and incest and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That is allowed under certain conditions or with minimal punishment, stuff like that.
Completely untranslated.
Yeah.
Pretty creepy. And then Bo Rudder here says his thumbnail has God Logic, Chris, and D Wood, and says come debate.
Oh, he didn't put us on there.
Yeah, what about us, man? I want to come.
Hey, we're happy.
sure
We're
you're
happy
right.
to see David and Chris and God Logic debate you, Hajji. If you don't want us, it's no problem.
No,
we want.
He
No,
doesn't
no.
want us. Why?
If he wants that, then that's okay. He can have. We're happy to see that and witness that. Witness his destruction.
Okay. So, yeah, for some reason, I didn't see his thumbnail. I guess, I must have seen it. Did he change it or something like that? Because I didn't remember. Yeah, it says come debate on there. And says and calls it ignorance of the Christians. I saw his title was ignorance of the Christians. Yeah, somehow I missed the come debate on there. So he's got come debate with God Logic, Chris, and me on there. So we accept. And again, have not confirmed with God Logic, but I predict that he will accept.
Oh.
And he also has he has no logic on there. He went with the Ali Dawah thing. Dude, don't go with Ali Dawah. Don't go the Ali Dawah road.
Bad move. Bad.
He's on a diddy list, man.
Yeah, I know what he did. That was actually the thumbnail that we had on God Logic's stream.
He stole God Logic's thumbnail.
No, yeah. Well, no, that was just a thumbnail. So in God Logic's channel, it said "come debate." So I don't think that was a challenge.
Okay. But he is challenging us to have a discussion. So okay, that's good. That's good. All right. We got all that settled.
So maybe we are invited. Maybe we're...
that's good. I want to be invited.
Just make it more concise. And then have a discussion, because people are more invested in discussions. 40, 50-minute video. It's a face-to-cam video. Not many brothers, have the time to watch all of it. And it's very academic heavy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show one example of how these Christian polemical debaters are really projecting their beliefs on the Quran and the kalam or the aqwal of the ulama.
Are you freaking kidding me? We're projecting our views on... So he's... This is dumb in two ways, and I don't want to keep interrupting like this much, but that was like horrible. So one, he says, we're projecting our view onto the... First of all, no. If the Quran said our book is corrupt, I wouldn't care what the Quran says. I don't believe in the Quran. If the Quran says that, if the Quran were to say our book is corrupt, I would say, okay, the Quran says our book is corrupt, and here's why the Quran is wrong. I say that the Quran doesn't say that because the Quran doesn't say that. We're stating facts, right? So one, you're the guys who project your views into the Quran, right? You're the guys who we think the Bible's corrupted. Oh, let's go to a verse that says nothing about the Bible being corrupted and say that's what it actually means the Bible's corrupted. So one, you insert your views into the Quran. Two, you're projecting onto us what you guys do. So it's this double projection, man. You got a double projector. That's a fancy projector, man. Fancy projector that can project twice.
Do you think, part of me thinks that he doesn't know this, though. Part of me thinks that he's been told this and he's kind of just saying it because, like, he only goes into one very small part, like reads some Arabic tafsir and then comes to a conclusion and then thinks that's it. And given that he openly says, "Look, I don't actually know much about the Bible. I don't know much about this particular issue," I'm kind of wondering if he, I don't know, like I feel like if I had a discussion with him, a lot of it would just be explaining the Islamic dilemma to him. Because I don't mean that as a way that's like, oh, haha, he doesn't know, but more that he just hasn't had the time to look into it. So I think that when he does that, I think he's going to be like, oh, actually, that's more of a problem than I thought it would be. Maybe, who knows? Maybe he's just trying to deflect.
Yeah, I think you're right, Chris. I think it's probably a situation where he's had some people requesting it, and he said that he talked to one of his fellow Dawa guys, said, "Oh, this argument's terrible. It's a joke. They're just projecting their own views into it," and so on. And he probably doesn't know. And then, he gives one example, but it's not even one of our points that we bring up. It's a response to someone else who was saying, it was someone else saying, "Hey, 513, this refutes you." And you guys go through 513.
You know what?
Then he uses, yeah, go ahead.
It could be that guy who called in on 513, and he was like, yeah, that could be that situation.
But he says,
have you guys seen the comments in the video?
Which
one of the comments
on his video?
On his video. Yeah, one of them is by Leafy, and he's basically telling Brother Hajji not to get involved.
Really?
It's really, yeah. I noticed it earlier today. You just reminded me of it.
Oh, that's Dean's buddy, right?
Yeah, the Bush. Yeah, he's Dean Respon's friend who spends a good amount of time with Dean trying to solve the Islamic dilemma in his basement somewhere. So,
So Leafy says, "These people are dishonest clowns who've already been refuted by me." And Dean responds, "Don't waste your time, Aki. Don't waste your time." I mean, he sat there and said that he's getting requests from his followers on how to respond to this stuff. So why would you not want them? Why would you not want them to get the responses they so desperately crave?
It's almost if the response is going to be nonsense.
Yeah,
and he knows it.
Yeah, of course it is, and he knows he's just going to end up creating more problems because he doesn't know what he's talking about here, apparently. But yeah, this is everyone paying attention to this. Every response these guys post, we point out that it doesn't even come close to solving the Islamic dilemma. Not even close. It's all smoke screens. But then they all thump their chests. "Oh, we've all refuted this already. No need to respond."
I haven't seen any responses from. Remember, we did one about what's that guy's name? Dawa over Dunya. We did a couple of about Dean as well, and he doesn't respond to the specific points that I know. Chris, he has a back and forth with Chris, so I'll give him that. He does do back and forth with Chris.
Who does?
But, Dean, he does back and forth with Chris. Like he did like a little debate, like kind of impromptu, right? Chris, you guys had like a little debate. I saw that, but that's that. But I mean, in terms of like many of the streams that we've done, these guys are not like they're not responding to us. They're just like skipping over
they say
points.
We project, but I just read like what God Logic says, but I just read in Arabic.
We just read, man.
If I projected, I want him to point to one place where the text didn't say it, and I just translated something off the top of my head.
Yeah, so Brother Hajji, when you're watching this, just keep in mind, this is not us trying. Let me put it this way. There are times when I'm responding to Islam and I'm kind of like joking or teasing or something like that, right? That is not something that has to be taken seriously. I'm kind of joking with certain points. This we are completely serious about, right? There are dozens of verses in your Quran which we read them and it really, 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 really sounds to us like these verses are confirming the inspiration, the preservation, and the authority of our book. So if we're misreading them, we'd love an explanation, but we never get those explanations. We get people who say, "Oh, they're lying," and then they give some stupid argument. They pretend, they throw up a smoke screen, and we're like, "Is this dawah?" Because that's pure deception. That's pure deception. What you guys just did, pretending to respond to it without answering anything we actually said. So we're hoping that you're gonna be better because. We do not get a good impression of dawah when we see this over and over and over again. All right, back this up slightly here. Here we go.
Projecting their beliefs on the Quran and the kalam or the aqwal of the ulama or the mufassirin more notably. regarding the preservation of the Bible or the Torah. And this dilemma, there's many verses that they use. So, as I said, I'm open to having a discussion regarding this topic.
We accept.
With God Logic. And I'll obviously make that request at the end of the video. So let's...
I hope you didn't just mean God Logic, but I'm
Yeah.
sure God Logic would agree, but we're all here and we've already accepted, so.
Wow. I mean, for a guy who starts out the video like, man, I know nothing about the Bible, and obviously this is a new argument for him. People are just requesting it. He wants to come and, you know, debate it and or have a discussion. He said have a discussion. That's great. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
notice
this-
how he says, "Oh, they bring all these verses." Okay.
I mean, it's kind of funny. I can't, this is kind of why I like listening to him, because I feel like I'm actually watching a, you know, as far as I can tell, a sincere Muslim going through this and just like, you know, talking his mind as he does it. Is like, yeah, I'm not quite sure, but I'll have a discussion. I mean, I would kill for something like that at Speaker's Corner. You don't, like, all the da'is there, most of them on this list don't want to have any conversations with people because they know that it's not going to go well for them. So they, you know, they're constantly obfuscating, trying to figure out excuses to run the opposite direction. But if this guy was there, it'd be great. You know, you could just go up to him and have a chat with him. It'd be really edifying to anyone who was listening to that.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying like that. That's great that he's willing to do that, but he's gonna get completely embarrassed. Like, he has no idea what he's getting into, and whether it's just like a one-on-one with anyone, like one of you guys just one-on-one, or with God Logic,
Or with
he
the
has
Quran.
no idea, right? Yeah, he has no idea what he's getting into.
Yeah, he's done a hit and run. He's done a hit and run with a little bit from Tabari. He has no idea how much time we spent with Tabari.
Yeah,
Like, I can refute him from Tabari by Tabari. I don't even need to go to Ibn Kathir.
and that's what we're gonna do.
which he completely ignored Ibn Kathir, which we brought from the clip. If he knew how much research we've done just with Tabari, he wouldn't be doing this. Like, this is really dangerous for him. But I'm happy for it because it'd be great for the gospel.
Yeah.
And so, Brother Hajji, here's how this would go. Not trying to be mean or anything. We're just saying, based on what we've seen, what we've seen from the video that you posted, and you acknowledging that you don't know a lot about it, the discussion would not go well for you. But we would be happy to point out, hey, he's kind of new to this topic. He's acknowledged he's not completely familiar with it. So you could have this kind of introductory discussion where we take you through the Islamic dilemma in all its glory. You can try to respond and so on, but you'll have to, at the end of the day, you're going to have to come up with better stuff. So we can have an initial discussion where we lay things out and you can raise any objections you got and so on. That discussion is not going to go well for you, right? Everyone's going to be watching this going, whoa, this Islamic dilemma is the greatest argument ever. And so then you can go back and study for like a month how to respond to everything. And then we can all get together again when you've looked up responses to everything. Happy to do that. It's best we can do that.
Yeah. Yep.
And then
and by the way,
the follow-up, just so you know, would also not go well for you. But go.
yeah. No, it's like, as Chris pointed out, this comment here, the Muslims are not like, oh, that's a great response. Like, hey, stop. Just stop.
Yeah, please. No, don't look. No, we've already refuted it. No need.
Yeah.
Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here.
Dean
So,
Response
I mean,
and Leafy are like the scapegoats. They're going to deal with all the takfirs that other Muslim brothers make against them for having a incredibly unorthodox perspective, or at least from their paradigm anyway. And we'll just let those guys take it. Brother Hajji, you do other stuff.
Don't listen to him, Brother Hajji. Someone's got to. We already like you better because you're at least, you sound sincere when you're trying to respond, even though we don't think you're doing a great job. But we acknowledge that you're new to this, so we don't have super high expectations and so on to someone who comes into a brand new argument. But we already respect you more than we respect some of the other guys who just pretend to respond to it and then thump their chests and run their mouths and stuff like that. Doesn't impress us.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
You're impressing us significantly more. So we'd like to
much better.
hear more from you.
Listen to them, obviously, highlight their points, and we'll respond in kind. You know who says that.
You want tahrif?
Okay, so this clip from GodLogic's channel, I think it's about 3 minutes, which is like a third of his video. So unless you guys want to stop at some point, I'll just let this play since we were there.
Sure. Yeah.
I think I Yeah, so I watch. I think as soon as you guys start responding, I think I get up to go get more coffee or check on my kids or whatever. So I disappear. So I did not see this live.
تحريف كلامي صح right?
I want what?
Yeah. Well, Matt, what's his name?
Dilemma Destroyer. I think it was.
Dilemma Destroyer. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, so Dilemma Destroyer.
That's the funny part. This guy comes in with his name is Dilemma Destroyer. Oh, that's kind of funny. All right, just call him Double D for short. Double D.
Double D. All right, Double D. Do you want the commentary? Have you read the commentaries on this passage, the ayah?
لا
Tafsir?
ضد ابن كثير.
Yeah.
Excellent. We have that one.
Have you read Ibn Kathir for the
Can you
ayah?
pause here for a second? I know I'm
No.
jumping ahead.
Okay, shall we
But
put
I
on the
didn't-
screen for everybody and also you?
Sorry, I know I'm jumping ahead here, and I know we said we weren't going to do this, but
Oh no,
Because
that
I wanna
wasn't
point
the
out-
issue. That wasn't the issue. I couldn't tell if that was you from the video. or
Yeah,
you
I
from
can't
here,
tell
so,
either.
Yeah.
that's funny. No. Okay, I won't do it again, but like I'll let it play out. But it's like I want to point out that the Muslim is the one who said Ibn Kathir.
Right.
He didn't say Al-Tabari. He said Ibn Kathir. So I want to make that really clear.
The Muslim is the one who requested Ibn Kathir.
Yeah.
Probably because he hadn't heard of anyone else.
So I just want to make that clear because that's going to be relevant for
For
Shamsi, not Shamsi. What's his name?
Bro Hajji.
Bro Hajji. It's for his response. I don't think he likes Shamsi, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't.
So just to be clear, so Brother Hajji, he tries to respond to a clip of us going through of one of our live streams where we invited Muslims to challenge us on the Islamic dilemma. I think we did like 4 or 5 of those open challenges to Muslims, refute the Islamic dilemma. And in this particular clip, looks like we're responding to 5:13, Surah 5, verse 13, which is one of the secondary verses. Like the historically, and this is just based on my observations, the main ones they go to are 279 and then 378. 378 makes no sense. All you have to do is actually read the verse, and then sort of you've got the Muslims who go to 548 and give it some ridiculous translation, and after that, then you start getting to these passages like 513 to 15 and so on. So someone brings up 513, which is one of the responses to the Islamic dilemma, and the dilemma destroyer himself brings up Ibn Kathir. So he brings up Ibn Kathir. So that this is their verse that they use to respond. And then at some point before this, we would have pointed out that's not what the verse says. It's not talking about the textual corruption. And then he brings up Ibn Kathir, and you guys say, "Oh, you like Ibn Kathir, do you? Let's go with Ibn Kathir then, since that's what you like." So is this all correct?
That's right.
Correct.
All right. And so anyway, point in all of that, Brother Hajji, is what you're responding to here is not us giving the Islamic dilemma. What you're responding to is a Muslim's bringing up 513, and then when we point out that what they're saying about 513 is not what 513 says, then they try to go to commentaries to show, no, that is what it really means. And then Jai and DOC go, oh, okay, if you're going to the commentaries to show that, here's what the commentaries actually say.
And he requested Ibn Kathir.
Yeah.
Very important.
The Ibn Kathir that Bro Hajji doesn't even touch. He doesn't even touch his feet. He just runs out the room to a different person. But that different person is also going to be bad news for him anyway.
But we'll see.
We'll see.
Brother Hajji, what group are you from? What sect are you from if you're throwing Ibn Kathir under the bus like this?
He's a Salafi, isn't he? He's not allowed to do that.
He sold Ibn Kathir for a fee.
Yeah, Ibn
Wow,
Kathir
for a
is one of his
paltry
scholars.
price. A paltry price.
Hey, Ibn Kathir, Bro Hajji, I dare you to say that Ibn Kathir is a lesser scholar. Or point out to where we got him wrong.
Did he just
right,
takfir Ibn Kathir?
No, he just ignored him. He just acted like he doesn't exist. He ghosted Ibn Kathir.
He ghosted
He
him,
couldn't-
man. He
Because he
ghosted
couldn't.
him.
He ghosted him because he couldn't actually. He couldn't actually deal with what we said in the clip. So he ghosted him with someone else.
Yeah, because I have to
Someone
say,
else is going.
when I was scrolling through to see where this clip ended and stuff, then he puts a passage up on the screen. So I assumed he was like, "Ha, here's what they missed in Ibn Kathir," but he's not even touching it.
No, he went.
It wasn't even in the same.
He
Wasn't even in the same ballpark.
Yeah, he knocked on someone else's door hundreds of years different time.
All right.
Is that okay?
Is that okay? We'll read it together. We'll read the Arabi as well, because I think you're Arabi. You're Arabi, yeah?
Yeah, it's من Arab.
Okay, shall we read the Arabi first?
Okay.
Can you see it?
Wait. He puts it up. Yeah. Okay. There you go.
There you go. Can you see that?
Oh, hey, Giant DOC, since there is this issue that we wouldn't technically know instantly if it's you in this video or you guys speaking, just give some signal if it's you now, and just go like caw, and I'll know to any sort of signal you come up with, and I'll pause it.
Okay. Arabi?
Yeah, something that.
Yeah. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah.
يحرفون الكلمة عن مواضعه أي فسدت فهومهم. Their understanding is corrupt. وساء تصرفهم في آيات الله. Their handling of Allah's verses was poor. وتأولوا كتابه على غير ما أنزله. They interpreted his book contrary
to how it was revealed.
وحملوه على غير مراده. And they applied it in a way that is not intended. Okay, so the فهوم, yeah, do you see that?
That's تحريف لفظي.
تحريف لفظي, exactly. So by their understanding, by their fahm.
The verbal. Yeah.
Verbal. So their fahm, their understanding is bad, fasad. ساء تصرفهم, their تصرف, they did wrong with the ayat. وتأولوا, تأولوا تأويل means interpret. They interpret it wrong. So they actually, their book is innocent, the book is fine, they are wrong.
So Ibn Kathir is saying, just for everyone, maybe you didn't catch it in the Arabic, but you guys, the understanding, this is what Ibn Kathir is saying, understanding has become corrupt. Their handling of Allah's verses were poor. They interpreted his book contrary to what he revealed. So as you guys can see, that the corruption here is like our friend said, dilemma destroyer. The destroyer says
Double D,
yeah. Like he said, this is referring to a verbal corruption, not a textual corruption. So what Chris was asking you was that if you had any verses, any ayah in the Quran that say that the Torah or the Injil are textually corrupted, like the text is corrupted.
Yeah, النص لو غيروا النص.
Yeah.
If they change the text, لو غيروا النص.
So as you can see on screen, we've got the.
I just want to point out. So this now goes back to Brother Hajji, and he's going to attempt to respond. Very interesting what you guys just requested there in that clip. To recap, someone brings up 513. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happens, but 513 is one of the verses that Muslims bring up to respond to the Islamic dilemma and say, nope, the Quran does say your Bible's been corrupted. Just look at 513 through 15 and so on. So what happens? We go through 513 through 15. We show that's not what it says. That's when a Muslim would go to a commentary. And this particular Muslim said, but go to Ibn Kathir. And DOC says, no, Ibn Kathir isn't saying that the text is corrupted. It's saying people, misrepresented or distorted or something like that. So DOC points that out. But then right there at the end, they say, hey, we're looking for verses of the Quran that say our text has been corrupted. This ain't it. So what are we looking for? Verses of the Quran. To refute the Islamic dilemma, all you need are verses from the Quran, correctly interpreted and represented, that say the Torah's been corrupted, or the Gospel's been corrupted, or the Bible's been corrupted, or something. That's what we keep looking for. No one ever gives us that. Ever. There are a couple verses they try to go to, like 513, like 279. In context, they don't mean the text of the Bible's been corrupted. And in fact, they can't possibly mean that. They can't mean that when you actually read them. Read what they say and read it in context, and then read it in light of what the rest of what the Quran says. So the question, notice, guys, for everyone who's watching, if we're wrong about the Islamic dilemma, it should be a 10-second response. Chapter, verse, it says your book's corrupted. Boom, done. Why is no one doing that? Why can't anyone do that? Why can't anyone show us chapter and verse of the Quran that says our book's been corrupted? Maybe you should be getting the point by now that Perhaps there isn't any such verse if no one can bring one up. If we've challenged all these Muslims and they've made all kinds of response videos and not one Muslim can point to one verse of the Quran that says our book has been corrupted, maybe you should start getting the point that it's not in there. And I'm saying that because your average Muslim, when he hears Christians, what you guys have been told all your lives the Quran says is not what the Quran says. It's not what the Quran says at all. And they think, but I've heard all my life that it says that, so it must say that. And then we bring up verses of the Quran that affirm our scriptures, but in their heads, in the head of the average Muslim who's never read the Quran, they're thinking, oh, it's in there somewhere. It's in there somewhere. These verses are in there somewhere because I've been told all my life that that's what the Quran says, so they must be in there somewhere. And so they just think that eventually these verses are going to be put forward and destroy the dilemma. But you Muslims who are watching who've never read the Quran, and I know you haven't read the Quran, you Muslims who think the Quran says this, you should be watching all of this and recognizing why don't any of the guys who respond ever just show chapter and verse where the Quran says the Bible's been corrupted? Why? And the correct answer is because the Quran doesn't say it. And that's the point that you guys can't seem to get. But anyway, I wanted to back up slightly to show what Giant DOC requested, which was show us some verses that say the Bible's been corrupted. I'm pointing that out because Brother Hajji attempts to respond, but doesn't really respond.
You guys can see that the corruption here is like our friend said, dilemma destroyer.
Double D.
Dilemma destroyer says.
Double D.
Yeah. Like he said, this is referring to a verbal corruption, not a textual corruption. So what Chris was asking you was that if you had any verses, any ayah in the Quran that say that the Torah or the Injil are textually corrupted, like the text.
Did you catch that? Verses of the Quran. So Jai points out that's what Chris was requesting, and that's something that we keep asking for, and we never get. So I asked it, Chris asked it, Jai and DOC repeated Chris's request. Hey, do you have any verses? We keep asking, we never get any. So that's going to lead into Brother Hajji's attempt to respond, and we'll see. Obviously, he's going to give us chapter and verse, right?
Or he's
Nas.
sorry.
Nas
Or,
Okay, Kaka, there we go. I was waiting for that. I was like,
or if he's not going to respond to our request, what he's going to do at the very least is go to the commentary and show how we were projecting our ideas into the commentary and we were misreading Ibn Kathir. Because again, it was the Muslim who said, I asked him, do you want to go to the commentaries? He said, let's go to Ibn Kathir. So we went to Ibn Kathir. He didn't say go to Al-Tabari. He didn't say Al-Baghawi. He didn't say anyone else. He said Ibn Kathir.
Yeah, bro, Hajji, why didn't you show me how we projected anything onto Ibn Kathir, man? You just you just slander Ibn Kathir like that. You're either slandering us or slandering Ibn Kathir because he just skipped over that to the Tabari book, to a front page of Tabari. Why? Why don't you address what the thing on the screen?
Yeah, address the question or address the commentary.
Because we will show you, we'll address your thing, even though it was a distraction and going somewhere else. We'll address that. But why don't you address us? That's the question.
yeah, and this is an interesting situation because I'm kind of like Chris. Chris, I saw one of your recent videos on the Islamic dilemma. You were going through a commentary it brought up by a Muslim, and you were saying, really, I don't care what Ibn Kathir says, and that's kind of like, I really don't. Let me put it this way. I'm interested in the commentaries if they're giving historical background of verses and things like that, or if they're listing various Muslim interpretations over time. If a commentary just says something and it doesn't sound like what Allah said at all, I don't care. We're looking, the Islamic dilemma, we're looking for what Allah and Muhammad say about this issue. If you quote Ibn Kathir and it's something that Allah says in the Quran, well, fine, but then you could just quote me what Allah says in the Quran. And if you can't show me that what Ibn Kathir says is what's actually said in the Quran, why are you quoting Ibn Kathir? That wouldn't solve the problem. So there's a sense in which on this issue and in the way Muslims use it, I don't really care. But on this issue, it's a Muslim saying, no, 513 does say your book's been corrupted. Look at Ibn Kathir. And then what happens? DOC goes, okay, let's go to Ibn Kathir. Oh, it doesn't say that. It doesn't say that at all. In fact, Ibn Kathir says what we said 513 is actually saying, that we're misrepresenting and distorting our scriptures. So better luck next time. Now, back to the issue, chapter and verse. Where does it say our book's been corrupted? And we never get the answer, ever.
So
And-
just to jump in real quick, I see the way I kind of see this is if you can show that the Islamic sources are opposed to each other, that is a massive issue. If you can show the Quran and the Tafsir have a massive disconnect, the Quran says one thing, but the interpreters do eisegesis, they read into it quite clearly. I think that's a powerful point. And there's always this problem when you're trying to critique Islam of, okay, you got one source like the Quran, but then you've got how they interpret it, and then you've got the Hadith, and the Hadith kind of interpret it as well often a lot of the time. So you end up with these different levels. And the more I look into this, the more I'm just thinking, you know what, it has to start somewhere. Because to be honest with you, I don't trust the validity of the Hadith. I think I'd rather just show the Quran contradicts with the Hadith and that the Hadith have nothing to add of any value, really. That's my opinion. Like, that's how I want to approach this, because I want to start at the base level and kind of build up. But you guys have the super expert skill of actually knowing the Arabic, which very few of us do. And you can actually look at their sources beyond the Quran, and you can actually go through that and say, actually, you're not even correct in this level. And I think that's also valuable. But I don't know Arabic, just a like heads up there. I have no clue about Arabic. So I'm just going to... Yeah, most of the Muslims don't either.
Most of them, yeah.
Yeah. So for now, I'm just staying with the Quran.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that was it. I was just saying, like, for now, I'm like Surah 40 on the Islam,
Wow, you're
like reading the Quran through. Yeah, but remember, I'm not doing all the additional stuff you guys are doing, because you're like going into the Arabic side. I'm just like native English guy going, oh, look, the English says this. Oh, this is great. So we'll see. We'll combine everything at the end.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. But I'll tell you our perspective. And I learned this when I was dealing with like rabbinic Jews, and I would go to like, what do the rabbis say about this? Or what does the Talmud say? Or what does the Targum, any sort of like rabbinic source. And a lot of times they would come back and say, well, do you think that rabbi was a Trinitarian? Do you think that rabbi was a secret Christian? And I'm like, no, I don't. But what I'm doing is I'm showing you that what you're saying is just some like made up interpretation that some Christian missionary is coming up with. I'm showing you that your scholars, they don't have a Christian bias. They don't have this like, we're trying to prove something, and yet they're coming to the same conclusion we're coming to. So I do that same thing with Muslims. If we can find a Muslim scholar making the same exact argument that we're making, well, I just like, okay, great. So you can't accuse him of being like, oh, he's trying to read the Islamic dilemma into the Quran, or he's trying to do like, you can find Muslims who say things like the Bible's corrupted. I'm not saying you can't find that, but that's because they know that there's an Islamic dilemma and that there's a problem. But when you find Muslims who are saying exactly what we're saying, well, that makes the problem for you so much bigger. And of course, there's like there's a couple of different layers to this, but another additional one is like kind of like what you're saying, which is like, let's just fact check them and let's see if what they're saying is actually even true.
And every single time we fact check, they are not right.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. And Bro Hajji is actually a level above, but Bro Hajji is still caught on a technicality, which I'll show you later. Still not right.
By the way, guys, that would be a good, those would be good titles for videos, fact checking so-and-so on the Islamic dilemma or something like that. Cause,
oh yeah,
that's a lot of times that's just what it comes down to. Yeah. So guys, especially for people that, if you're not familiar with the terminology and so on, you got the Quran. That's supposedly the speech of Allah. And that's the main source we go to for the Islamic dilemma. Allah has his entire book, the Quran. Almost every Muslim you run into thinks that the Quran claims the Torah and the gospel were corrupted by Christians and Jews. And we're pointing out, show us one verse in there. Show us one verse in the Quran that says what you guys have been taught all your life it says. They can't do that, right? So that's the main thing we'd be going to. Then you have the Hadith. You have claims from Muhammad. There's not a ton of claims about Muhammad about the there are some very important ones and so on, but it's not like you're dealing with hundreds of hadiths or something like that. You're dealing with a couple of relevant ones where Muhammad says something about the Torah and the gospel and so on. But then you have the commentaries. These are later Muslim scholars who are commenting on things in the Quran and the Hadith. And you can go to later commentators who say the Bible's been corrupted. Why? Because by that time they know that the Bible doesn't line up with the Quran. They know that the Quran talks about Allah sending the Torah and the gospel, but they know that in their time the Torah and the gospel don't line up with what the Quran says, so they conclude, oh, it must be corrupted, and then they try to read that view into the Quran. And then so that's the sense in which me and Chris would say, we don't care if some later source says it. We're concerned about what the actual Quran says. We don't care if someone comes along later and says your book's been corrupted. Okay, fine. But you have to show us where Allah is saying that, and that's what they never ever show us. And then Jai was pointing out that part of the significance of going to the commentaries is showing that when a Muslim says we're coming up with some crazy interpretation of a verse, it's you're Christians, you're reading that into, you're projecting it. Okay, did Ibn Kathir project our view into his reading of the Quran? Did these other scholars? So pointing out that we are not the inventors of these claims about these verses. Yeah. Earlier Muslims noticed the exact same things and very frequently commented on it. And I'll add one more significant factor about the commentaries is that it's pretty easy, and Jai, you kind of hinted at this, but it's pretty easy to see how, if the original position of the Quran is that it's affirming the inspiration, the preservation, and the authority of our scriptures, it's easy to see how later Muslims would nevertheless call it corrupted because they figure it out, right? They figure out, wait, the Bible doesn't line up with the Quran, therefore the Bible must be corrupted, right? It's easy to see how, starting from a position of the Bible is as good as gold, how later Muslims could get to the idea that it's corrupted because they realize it doesn't line up. So if the Quran is saying, there are two possibilities. It's a different kind of dilemma. Either the Quran is affirming our book or it's saying our book is corrupted. Let's just say it's one of those. If the Quran is affirming our book and saying our book is as good as gold, it's easy to see how later commentators concluded that the Bible's been corrupted because they find out the Bible doesn't line up with the Quran. So it's not surprising to find Muslim commentators who say the Bible's been corrupted, and it's not relevant. We understand why you came to that conclusion. However, if the reverse does not make sense, it doesn't make sense if the Quran is actually saying the Bible has been corrupted, it doesn't make sense for later Muslim scholars to conclude that the Quran is affirming the inspiration, the preservation, the authority of our scriptures. That makes no sense.
Right.
Like, how do you get to, in other words, you're looking at the big picture. What's the Quran saying? Muslims say it's calling our book corrupt. We say there's nothing in there that's calling our book corrupt. And then you say, okay, you got kind of two hypotheses here. If the Quran is calling our book corrupt, how did you ever end up with Muslim scholars saying it's not saying that? How did you ever end up with that? It makes no sense. Why would they conclude it? If Muslim scholars have always known that the Quran's calling our book corrupt, why do you start getting Muslim commentators saying, nope, it's just saying they corrupted in their interpretation. It's not saying that the text is corrupted. How do you ever get to that view? Whereas if the Quran is affirming the inspiration, preservation, authority of our book, we understand how Muslim scholars eventually said the opposite. We understand all that. The point is, the view that the Quran is affirming our scriptures fits all the evidence. It explains why there are Muslims who say that the Quran is affirming our Bible. It makes sense of all the Quran. It makes sense of the Hadith. And it makes sense of even why later Muslims said the Bible's been corrupted. It makes sense of all of that.
Yep.
The claim that the Quran is telling us that our book has been corrupted, one, it doesn't make sense of the Quran. It doesn't make sense of the Hadith. It doesn't make sense of the commentaries. It doesn't make sense of the fact that you have all these scholars who say that the Quran isn't saying that our Bible's been corrupted. It's actually just saying we misrepresent it. So that could actually be a video, just comparing the two hypotheses here and showing how one fits all the evidence, the other fits almost nothing. And that's a problem, guys. All right, we ready to jump back into this?
Yep. Good to go.
Sure.
All right, so he had a simple request, chapter and verse. Where's our book been corrupted? Say it.
Yeah.
If they change the text,
So as you can see on screen, we've got Tafsir al-Tabari, and the book's name is actually جامع البيان عن تأويل أي القرآن. So basically the compilation and clarity of the interpretation, meaning the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can see the verse in front of you now, which is the verse from Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 13. That's what they presented. And they quoted.
That's not what we presented.
That's not what we presented.
Muslims present that. So
yeah.
that's what's weird. Does he think the Islamic dilemma is based on 513?
That's what I'm trying to. I think he might do, or he might have this weird idea that that's the heart of it. Like it's all
Maybe it was just the only
characters
clip that he watched. But
Yeah.
also, we didn't present this. We presented on the request of the Muslim, not
Right.
the Tabari that he's got on screen, Ibn Kathir,
Yeah.
which he just skimmed over like he doesn't exist. But okay, let's see.
He just sold him for a paltry price. So, yeah, Brother Hajji, again, we've said it again. We've said it a million times already. 513 is not our argument. That's your art, not you particular, but you Dawa guys. That's one of your responses to the Islamic dilemma. So this is not our case. We're just pointing out that even the verse that Dawa guys use to respond to the Islamic dilemma does not say what they claim it says.
You know, I want to say something that he's kind of falling my eyes a little bit, because I have seen him, like with the Sheikh Rahman thing, like he actually puts in some research. He goes into the sources. He knows like how to refute him on those points. Chris showed that he goes into detail with like Hamza, and he goes like, he's like very detail oriented with that stuff. This he's very sloppy on. Like this is, like David said, this is not our argument. The Muslim brought this up. We responded to it. He brought up Ibn Kathir. We brought up Ibn Kathir, saying, okay, let's see what he says. We show what he says. And it's like he's trying to make it sound like, or he's trying to frame it as if like you said, like this is our positive case for the Islamic dilemma, when that's not what it is at all. And for someone like him, who has a history of getting into the details and, you know, getting, you know, detail oriented like that, for him to miss that, it's like it's not looking good for him.
He rushed it.
He rushed it. Yeah, it looks like he rushed it. If we're being, you know,
that's what this does look. This looks like a rush job. This looks like, hey, I want to put together something real quick, and I'll just do a terrible job. What's crazy is you can look at the comments on his video, and apart from the one, don't bother wasting your time, to someone who actually knows what our arguments are. I guarantee you the other comments are, oh, you've humiliated them, you've destroyed them, these dishonest Christians, because that's what it always is. That's what it always is.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Chris?
It always is. Yeah, I was just going to say, yeah, it looks to me like it's rushed. But again, remember, he said he doesn't know much about it. And he's been asked to do this, basically. Like, you know, Muslims have been asking him to respond to this. So I think he went, all right, fine, I'll do a quick video. Just look at this one bit. I mean, like, I wonder why he picked this particular part of the live stream. I mean, even that, I don't quite get why he chose that exactly. And the fact that he didn't quite like respond to it properly, he just went to something else. Maybe he like watched a bit of it, he was just clicking through, saw that and was like, I don't know, I'm pretty sure I remember something in Al-Tabri that said something. And then he was just like, yeah, I'll just put that in, that'll be enough. And that was it.
If someone just like clipped it to him, if someone just like clipped it and like said, okay, this is it, then you know, that person set him up for failure, and he's also not doing his due diligence. But anyway, I'm just saying, it's like he kind of like, you know, not doing so good.
It's okay. It's okay. Let's see.
Yeah,
you got.
I did want to. I just realized people with 513, people might not know what we're talking about, so I just want to pop it up on the screen so people know what verse we're talking about. So here you have. Let's see. So 513, guys. So we point out. So this is how it goes. We point out that the Quran doesn't say the Bible's been corrupted. On the contrary, the Quran affirms the inspiration, the preservation, and the continuing authority of the Torah and the Gospel. And then when we ask for verses that say our book has been corrupted, one of the common places to go is this passage in 5:13 to 15. So let's go ahead and read it so you can see why they would go here. 5:13, but on account of their breaking their covenant, we cursed them and made their hearts hard. They altered the words from their places, and they neglected a portion of what they were reminded of. And you shall always discover treachery in them, excepting a few of them. So pardon them and turn away. Surely Allah loves those who do good to others. So that part right there, they altered the words from their places, and they neglected a portion of what they were reminded of. Guess what? That's ambiguous in the sense that that could be referring to the corruption of the text, right? They altered words from their places. Well, you can alter words from their places by taking a copy of the, let's say, the Gospel or the Torah, and then moving words from their places and neglecting a portion of what they're reminded of. That sounds like just ignoring it, but you could, if you wanted to, interpret that as, I guess, getting rid of a part and you're neglecting it because you chop out part of the Bible or something like that. So the point is, without other things to go on, you could interpret this verse as talking about the corruption of the text. I'll go ahead and finish these two verses. And with those who say we are Christians, we made a covenant, but they neglected a portion of what they were reminded of. So Christians also neglected something. Now, what's that mean? That they ignored the book, they stopped copying the book, and now they don't have the book, something like that. But they neglected a portion of what they're reminded of. Therefore, we excited among them enmity and hatred to the day of resurrection, and Allah will inform them of what they did. And then, O followers of the book, indeed our apostle has come to you, making clear to you much of what you concealed of the book. So they concealed something, and passing over much. Indeed, there has come to you light and a clear book from Allah. So the idea here, guys, is 513 it does sound like it's talking about corrupting something. The question is it talking about the text or just how we misrepresent it? Because you have other passages like 378, which talk about Jews and Christians distorting the scriptures with our tongues, with our speech. It's talking about how we misrepresent and even lie about our scripture. So what is 513 to 15 saying? You've got Muslims who will use this and say, see, the Quran does say your book's been corrupted. We point out this definitely isn't clear. It's not clear what it's talking about. If it's talking about our text being corrupted, it's definitely not clear, because it sounds like it could just be saying the same thing that 378 is saying. We change it with our speech, right? So the question is, do you have what a Muslim would want to do here is go to a commentary and say, yes, this commentary shows it is talking about the corruption of your text, in which case we would also ask, where does it say that? But in this particular case, a Muslim said, yeah, Ibn Kathir. And Jai and DOC went to Ibn Kathir, and then DOC burnt the guy up on that. Ibn Kathir did not agree. And of course, after that, then our good friend, Brother Hajji, decides, well, I'll show that they're wrong. Well, one, you can't show that they're wrong by not going to Ibn Kathir, because the entire point would be Ibn Kathir doesn't say that this is talking about the corruption of the text. The other problem, of course, would be if you're saying this is talking about the corruption of the text of the Torah and the Gospel, the rest of the entire chapter makes absolutely no sense, because 543 and how do they make you a judge, Muhammad, and they have the Torah wherein is Allah's judgment. And then you've got down to 547, which tells the followers of the Injil, that's Christians, that we have to judge by that. And then 548 says that the Quran is a guardian over the previous scriptures. None of this makes sense if verse 13 is saying your book's been corrupted. So those would kind of be some of the various problems with this claim. Again, the idea here is there a clear verse? How can you tell that these guys are doing the projecting that they accuse us of? Well, we go to the clearest verses. This book affirms the inspiration of our scripture. This verse shows that our scripture was preserved. This verse shows that our scripture is still authoritative. And we go to clear verses. They go to ambiguous verses, which could be interpreted as corrupting the text or just people misrepresenting the text. And they go with the corruption interpretation, and which contradicts all the clear verses. That's the issue. So that's kind of the big picture in all this, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Let's go back to Brother Hajji's response. And what does he do? So Muslims bring up 513, and we say 513. There's nothing in 513 that talks about the corruption of the Bible. We're looking for something that says it's been corrupted, not something that you could interpret by a stretch of the imagination as that. Where does the Quran actually say it's been corrupted? And then a Muslim says, go to Ibn Kathir. DOC went to Ibn Kathir. It agreed with us, not with him. And then Brother Hajji comes along and says, I'll prove that they're projecting and lying. Well, what do you mean? Everything already has been true. So if you're arguing that no, 513 is saying our book has been corrupted, you're actually arguing that Ibn Kathir is wrong. And why should we believe you over Ibn Kathir on this issue? It's weird. It's weird stuff. So I guess he's claiming to be a greater scholar than Ibn Kathir. We are truly in the presence of greatness here, ladies and gentlemen. Back to the video.
I want to ask him two questions once we get this.
There we go.
From Ibn Kathir, projecting that Ibn Kathir didn't believe the Torah was corrupt.
Before he gets into the commentary here, I just want to ask him two questions, because we have some stuff that we want to present on this. But before we do, and before we let him make his case, I want to ask him two questions. So, Hajji, I have a feeling that you're going to watch this, and you probably will make a response video. These are 2 questions that I'd like you to respond to. And remember, David had requested, he accepted your offer for the conversation, the dialogue. So that's already on the table if you're willing to follow through on that. But my 2 questions are this. Number 1, will you admit that this was not part of our argument for the Islamic dilemma, but it was a response because a Muslim brought it up? And then number 2, did we misrepresent or lie about what Ibn Kathir said? Did we misrepresent or lie about what Ibn Kathir said?
No, we don't, because he would have said
those
it.
are my 2 questions.
He would have said it if we did. If we lied, well, he either knows some Arabic or he's got someone who knows. If we misrepresented that Arabic, even an iota, he would have said, bang, they lied.
So answer those questions. That's what we want.
He didn't. He just turned to Tabari like we didn't exist.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's go.
The interpretation, meaning the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can see the verse in front of you now, which is the verse from Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 13. That's what they presented. And they quoted a passage.
Not what we presented.
Ibn Kathir, projecting that Ibn Kathir didn't believe the Torah was corrupt. It was their fahum, it was their understanding, and it was their faulty interpretation and the tasarrufat and how they dealt with the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it was their understanding and the interpretation, not the Torah was corrupted. Okay.
I have
So
no
that's what
idea
we
why he's
presented.
talking about Ibn Kathir, and now he's going to, he just mentioned Ibn Kathir,
Yeah,
and now he's talking about Al-Tabari. Like, does he not realize, like, these are 2 different people?
But we didn't project. We just read it.
This is crazy.
Read it.
He just accused you guys of projecting your understanding when all you did was read it, right? Did he just accuse you guys of projecting your view into Ibn Kathir?
Yeah. Now what he's doing is he's projecting, I guess, Ibn Kathir's view
onto Tabari,
or vice versa.
It does seem like he was. He's just thinking, well, if I just pivot from Ibn Kathir to Al-Tabari and show something different, then it's all good, right? Like, you can interchange them. I don't.
You can't interchange him.
Why he jumped.
He's banking on the fact that ignorant Muslims don't know the difference. They think it's all one book. Or
They're all the same person.
He said, because this is the deceptive part. Listen, he said, this is what they presented, right? And he put something else on from a different scholar, hundreds of years apart from Ibn Kathir.
Wow. Okay.
Right?
You're not looking good, Hajji.
Yeah, hang on, brother Hajji. I have to agree with DOC there. We've been praising you because you seemed better than most of the Dawah guys, but this did seem like you were being deliberately deceptive. So if there's some other explanation, so in other words, how this looks to us is, one, you're acting like we're the ones who bring up 513 to prove the Islamic dilemma. No, this is your guys' argument. And then when we say that's not what the verse actually says, you guys say go to the commentaries. So it's your guy who said, yeah, go to Ibn Kathir. DOC goes to Ibn Kathir. It agrees with us, not with you guys. And then it sounded like right here that you're pretending to respond to that, and you go to a different commentary by a different person. That's what it sounded like. And it sounded like you're taking advantage of the fact that your average viewer will not be paying attention to and will not know what you just did. That you're pretending to respond to what DOC said simply by reading Ibn Kathir, and yet you don't touch it. You go to a completely different commentary. So that did not look good.
Imam al-Tabari, because they mentioned Imam al-Tabari as well. But I'll show you how desperate they are, and in reality, they're just using so much gish galloping. It's unreal. Anyway,
Did you just say gish galloping?
What
He
What
did.
is he talking about?
Dude,
What is he talking about?
brother Hajji, dude, I don't know. This is okay. Now, yeah, my opinion just dropped more because, guys, we were thinking this guy's different, but it's a very common Dawah tactic to start calling out fallacies that you've been trained. No, straw man, to stuff that's not a straw man, just because your followers also don't know what a straw man is, and your followers also don't know what gish galloping is. Brother Hajji, so you had a couple of questions, a couple of challenges from Jai and DOC. I'll issue another one. Show us where that was gish galloping. Like, show us by any stretch of the imagination how that was gish galloping. A Muslim said, go to Ibn Kathir. DOC went to Ibn Kathir, read Ibn Kathir. It did not agree with the Muslim. It did not agree with you. It agreed with us and our understanding of what the verse said. On what planet is that gish galloping? Please explain.
And can you explain to people what did he just accuse us of? What is gish galloping?
That's where you kind of toss stuff out so rapidly that people never have a chance to respond to it, right?
So, and that's what he's
I
accusing us of
I
doing.
was actually going step by step, very slowly, and the man spoke Arabic, and he came to the conclusion, oh, it's verbal. The issue is verbal.
That's what an accusation.
Correct.
Wow.
So, and the man has the Arabic speaker that I was speaking to. He saw the text that I was seeing.
Wow. All right, not looking good, Hajji.
Brother Hajji, what DOC did is the opposite of gish galloping. She went through it carefully until the meaning was clear.
Hand-holding.
Yeah. Yeah, hand holding, not gish galloping.
I think we'll do the same thing for you.
Yeah, we'll hand
Hajji,
hold
for this commentary. We'll hold your hand through this one.
Yeah, we'll be gentle. We won't gish gallop. We'll go through everything so you're happy sleeping at night. Yeah.
قول في تأويل قوله سبحانه وتعالى يحرفون الكلمة عن مواضعه. So the interpretation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that they corrupted the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from its original place. Okay, so it mentions that يحرفون الكلام ربهم الذي أنزله على نبيه موسى عليه السلام. So they corrupted the words of their Lord which was revealed upon their prophet Musa عليه السلام وهو التوراة, and this was the Torah. Okay, فيبدلونه, and they changed it. So did they change it with their understanding? Did they change it with their interpretation? What did they change? So it mentions straight after with the arrows over, وَيَكْتُبُونَ بِأَيْدِيهِمْ غَيْرَ الَّذِي أَنزَلَهُ اللَّهُ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ عَلَى نَبِيِّهِمْ. SubhanAllah. So they wrote with their hands other than what was revealed from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon their prophet.
Wow. He doesn't know what that's a reference to. He doesn't know that that's referencing.
We do. We know exactly what that's a reference to. But what he thinks he thinks this is a reference to 513. Like he thinks this is about 513, dude. Okay, so open challenge, Brother Hajji. When you're sitting here quoting, they wrote it. This is talking about them writing something. Show us that from 513. Simple request. Like simple, easy, straightforward request. Show us that in 513, which is what we were talking about. Where are you getting that from? We know where that's coming from. The fact that you don't means you're seriously out of your depth here. Again, we're happy to have a discussion with you. But if you don't know what he's actually quoting there, you're at serious beginner level, because that would be learning 279 would be like first step of responding. You'd get wrecked on it, but that would be kind of the first step. If you don't know what that verse actually is, you're going to have real serious problems here. Let's see.
يَقُولُونَ الْجُهَّالِ النَّاسِ. Then they said to the ignorant of the people. So go back now. They changed it. They wrote in it other than what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed upon their prophet Musa. And then they said to the ignorant of the people, هذا هو كلام الله الذي أنزله على نبيه موسى عليه السلام والتوراة التي أوحاها إليه. That this is the speech of Allah, the words of Allah, which was revealed upon their prophet, upon the prophet Musa alayhi salam, which is the Torah, which he was inspired with. Okay, so come back to me now. So to the Christian polemics, it's clear here that they changed the Torah for you.
It's clear. Okay. It's clear where in 513, because nothing you just said is from 513. Nothing, right? And if you're going to see where that's actually coming from is 279, and 279, if you read it in context, there's no way it's saying what you think it's saying. So this is what we say. This is the problem. You guys keep acting like you respond to something, and your followers are so ignorant and gullible. They go, "Oh, whoa, he said words. Therefore, he must have like refuted everything they said." And we're looking at this, and it's convincing us that dawah is massive, is nothing but massive deception. That's what you guys are convincing us of. Because I mean, just look at the progression. Just look at the progression. We're not even talking about everything else. Just look at what you just did there. You go to a clip of one of our many live streams where it was open challenge to all Muslims anywhere, call in and refute us. You go to a section where we're responding to a Muslim argument, and you act like that's our actual argument. And then It's the Muslim who says, go to Ibn Kathir. Ibn Kathir agrees with us. Then you come on, you pretend to respond to what Ibn Kathir says by going to a different commentator and ignoring what Ibn Kathir says and not addressing what Ibn Kathir says. And then you're going to a commentator who's using 279 and you act like this is about 513. And then even if you go to 279, if you read it in context, which you don't, it doesn't agree with you. And then everyone on your side will act like this is a brilliant response. And this is what we see from Dawah. Nothing but deception.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Yeah.
and we can prove it to him from the Arabic too, from the actual passage that he quoted and didn't translate exactly correct, which will tell you that it's about 279 actually.
This is about a minute long left. I see you guys got some stuff you want to go into. Do you want to finish watching and then go into your stuff, or go into your stuff now and then come back to him?
Well, let's finish watching.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
بدلونه. So they changed it. And they did tahrif. So they يحرفون. So they corrupted it. They changed it. ويكتبون بأيديهم. They wrote with their hands. Corruption, change, wrote with their hands.
Brother Hajji, just serious, straight up question. Can you show us where 513 says change with our hand? Can you show us that? Because if that's not what the verse says, and you're saying that the verse says that, you're flat out lying about the verse.
This is the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that was revealed.
In other words, hey guys, here's the big irony. Here's the big irony. He's talking about 513, and then he reads a commentary, and then the commentary is clearly talking about 279 and applying 279. So what's that? That's moving words from their places. Dude, you're doing what the Quran condemns us for doing in 513. You're doing what the Quran accuses us of doing in 513, moving words from their places, is exactly what you're doing right here. Does this mean your book has been corrupted? If you're moving words, if you're misrepresenting and distorting the meaning by moving words around and pretending, oh, this is about this and this is about this and this is about this, the Quran condemns us for doing that. You're saying, oh, that means the book has been corrupted. Okay, so your book has been corrupted now because you're doing what the Quran accuses us of doing, and you say that means the text has been corrupted. Congratulations, you just proved the Quran has been corrupted. But here's what's amazing. You would not think that you misrepresenting and moving words from their places has anything to do with the corruption of the text. Congratulations, you just proved our point. Well, bang up job, guys. Doing a bang up job, Dawah clowns. Sorry.
Upon the Prophet Moses. ثم يقولون جحال الناس. Then they said to the ignorant of the people, هذا كلام الله الذي أنزله على النبي موسى. This is the word of Allah that was revealed upon Musa alayhi salam. So they changed it with their hands. So it wasn't their fahum, it wasn't their ta'wil.
I have a question. Why were they only able to convince the ignorant? I wonder.
Is it because the non-ignorant would have one look at that and think this is not the Torah? Which means the true Torah has been there all along.
Okay.
I can't wait to get into the Arabic because he just buries himself. And when he says it's not the understanding and it's not the ta'wil, it's not the interpretation, okay, so is Ibn Kathir now a kafir to you? Because that's exactly what he said. So he's saying the actual words of Ibn Kathir. He's saying that it wasn't their understandings and it wasn't their interpretation, it was the text. Great, so you're better than Ibn Kathir.
Yeah. So it's not if it's not even us saying that, it's Ibn Kathir saying that.
It wasn't my words.
Now, hang on. What's he saying? Is he suggesting that Ibn Kathir is ignorant or that Ibn Kathir is a liar? Brother Hajji, we'd like you to clarify.
Yeah,
when you're completely mocking what Ibn Kathir just said, what DOC showed on the screen, Ibn Kathir said, namely that this is all this is all the Quran is actually talking about, and you say, that's not all the Quran is talking about. That's false. Okay, was Ibn Kathir ignorant and you just know more, or does he know the truth and he's deliberately lying? And if so, if he is lying about the Quran, does that mean the text of the Quran has been changed? Because if we lie about the Bible, somehow that means the Bible's been changed. So we just like you to clarify some of these issues.
And also, Ibn Kathir would have been aware of what Tabari said before he wrote what he wrote, because Ibn Kathir is later. So are you saying that is there a war between your scholars now? Or did Ibn Kathir understand better than you and he had better Arabic than you, no offense, because I'll show you from the Arabic that it's not what it's saying, and then just wrote that, oh, it must be their interpretation. Another question.
You have a lot of questions to answer, and it'd be good to make a video responding to all these questions.
Corruption, the changing, the tahrif, the tabdeel of the book of Allah. They changed it and they wrote it with their hand. One brother from Dawah said, Hajji, record one video highlighting an example of their ignorance. Thereafter, have this discussion regarding the so-called Islamic dilemma, and I'm more than willing to present books. We'll go through it because they are reaching. They are projecting,
we're
and
projecting
I
and
am
reaching.
confident that the so-called Islamic dilemma regarding the Torah and the preservation of the previous scriptures, it's an illusion. They are projecting so hard.
Well,
Let's
Hajji,
have this conversation and then allow the people to decide if there's indeed an Islamic dilemma or not. And I'm sure
that-
it'll be a fruitful discussion. So take care of yourselves. Sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad.
All right. There we go.
What I don't get about that is he starts off by saying he doesn't know very much about this, but then says, I am confident that we can deal with Islamic dilemma. It's not a real thing. It's just Christians projecting. It's like, well, how are you confident about that if you admit you haven't really looked into this? You know, he's saying two different things now.
Now
He
I
started
see
off
why
by
the
saying he's
Muslims
not
are.
confident. Now he is confident.
Yeah, now
Come on,
I see
brother
why the
Hajji,
Muslims are
have a
telling them
discussion.
not to get involved. Now I see why they're saying don't get involved. Now I see it.
Don't listen to them. Don't listen to them, Brother Hajji.
Yeah,
Some of your
yeah.
fellow Muslims are going to tell you don't get involved because they know what you're up against, and they know enough to kind of try and avoid direct discussions with this stuff, right? Because keep in mind, we repeatedly went live where any Muslim on the planet could call in and show us very simply where the Quran says the Bible's been corrupted. They couldn't do it. And so, and the Dawah guys didn't even try. The regular Dawah guys didn't even try. Why? They know that would not go well for them. And so they already know this would not go well for you. And so they're trying to throw you off it. But if you're confident that you can answer this, why listen to them? Don't listen to them. Show us. Prove us wrong. Prove us wrong. That's what we want to hear.
Yep. I still can't get over the fact that he's framing it like he's defeating our argument when this is not our argument. So anyway, like I said, he's going to be in for a surprise whenever
Apart from towards the beginning when he said, so the Islamic dilemma is basically, he kind of got it right, but then he actually goes to a clip where it's like a response. Yeah. It's not, it's nothing to do with that clip is nothing to do with our argument. That clip has something to do with a response to a Muslim response. Anyway, did you guys want to take us through some stuff?
Yeah. I want to take you through what he actually read and what it actually said. Okay.
And then we'll get some other application here.
Bro, Hajji, can he fix it? No, he can't.
Yeah. Wait. We made it halal. We put a
we give him a little miswag there. But anyway.
Yeah.
This is the Arabic that he brought. I wanna underline this part here. فَيُبَدِّلُونَهُ. Okay, that's what he said. What he claimed to mean. They changed it. وَيَكْتُبُونَ بِأَيْدِيهِمْ غَيْرَ الَّذِي أَنزَلَهُ اللَّهُ. And they write with their hands different to what Allah revealed to the prophet, which means Moses. ثُمَّ يَقُولُونَ لِجُهَّالِ النَّاسِ. And then they say to the ignorance, this is the
ignorant people.
Yeah, ignorant people, this is the speech of Allah. Here's what it actually said. They substitute it. فَيُبَدِّلُونَهُ. They substitute, exchange, or replace, which means you have the original, you put it to the side, and you write with their own hands something other than what Allah has revealed. And then they say to the ignorant people, this is the word of Allah. Why? Because knowledgeable people will take one look at it and say this is not the Torah. There's the word that he said changed. More accurate translation is they exchanged or substituted the speech of Allah. Okay? Substituted. It means it's there, but they put something else. Unfortunately for him, this word is repeatedly mentioned in the Quran. Baddalna sounds similar. We substituted. What does it say here? Baddalna ayatan makana ayah. We substitute a verse in place of a verse. If you want to say baddala means change, that means Allah changed a verse in your own Quran. corrupted your own Quran. Is that what you want to say? And in other places, it says, if you want to exchange or substitute one wife for another. استبدال الزوج مكان زوج. Okay, that word means to exchange or substitute. Doesn't mean you change the original. That means you replace it with something else and the original is still there. So what David said, where is it that somebody replaced the words of Allah with different, written with the hands, and then they say it's Allah's verses? Surah 2 verse 79. They write the scripture with their own hands, then they say this is from Allah, to exchange it for a small price. Here is Tabari, which is the same book he took us to.
Yeah, we're not going to Ibn Kathir, we're not going to Al-Qurtubi, we're not going to Al-Baghawi, we're sticking to Al-Tabari.
The same man. Look here. كتبوا كتابا. They wrote a book. They wrote a book. Then they sold it to people who don't know any different, and they don't know what's in the Torah. ولا بما في التوراة.
So again, same thing. It even uses the ignorance.
And again, it says juhal. They ignorant.
In the books of Allah.
Yeah. Ignorant about what is in the books of Allah.
So definitely talking about the same thing here.
كتبوا كتابا. They wrote a book. Didn't say they wrote in the book of Allah, the Torah, something different. No, they wrote a book. It's called writing a book, like what Chris said before. They wrote a book for ignorant people, and they said this is from Allah. 4 times he said they wrote a book, not changed in something in the book, which is the Torah. They wrote a book. This is the translation for you, because I know your Arabic is not 100%. It says they wrote, that your Tabari guy says they wrote a book according to their own interpretations, contrary to what Allah revealed to his prophet Moses, to people who had no knowledge of what's in the Torah, ignorant to what is in Allah's books. That means people knew what was in Allah's books, that was known to some. They just sold it to others who knew nothing. And in a different narration, it says that they were actually the Arabs. Arabs didn't know the Torah. Some Jews sat and wrote a book by themselves.
And they sold it to the ignorant Arabs.
He didn't say they wrote. They took the Torah and changed it and sold it to the Arabics. He said wrote a book. Right? Wrote a book with their own hands to the ignorant of the people, said this is from Allah. So actually, the passage he was reading was an allusion to this, which Tabari, if you knew anything about Tabari does this a lot. He takes from some other verses to explain in his exposition of some different verses.
Right.
He does that,
and sometimes he'll even say, "I already explained this in this passage." Like if you go to like different chapters, he'll be like, instead of repeating himself, he'll say, "I already explained this over here, so just go over there." So he's often making allusion to other commentaries that he makes.
And this is the rest of it. He says there were some people from the children of Israel who wrote a book, كتبوا كتابا, with their own hands, to consume the wealth of the people, so that they could sell something, basically. And they said this is from Allah. Exactly what his passage said, and it's not from Allah, not the Torah, just a book. And what's worse,
now we'll go to another scholar and explain exactly how he explained
and
it.
I know he follows Ibn Uthaymeen because he's a Salafi. Tell me if I'm wrong. Ibn Uthaymeen says Muslims do the same thing. We have in his recorded exposition of these verse 279, and it is recorded, and we have it here, right? His recording in Arabic, and this is a translation of the transcript. We have in our Muslim community people who wrote with their own hands and said this is better than what is with Allah. They called it a green book, and they said this is better than the Quran. And others said this similar things with the book called Prayer of the Opener, and they said this is better than the Quran 600 times. And look here, he says they are more wicked than the Jews, because to him they did the same thing that the Jews did. They wrote a book, pretended it was the Torah. Now, if you want to say that if anybody writes something with their own hands, makes that the book is corrupted, then you have to say that your Quran is corrupted because some people wrote books.
Same exact verbiage.
كتبوا كتبا يسمونها الكتاب الأخضر. They wrote books calling it the green book, and they said it was so is your Quran corrupted because someone wrote a book? That's all it's about. So no, whatever they wrote, they substituted it, exchanged it. And I don't even know, and I don't even need to convince you too much, because guess what? Your Quran says there are some that don't do it. Surah 2 verse 121. الذين أتيناهم الكتاب يتلونه حق تلاوته. Those who were given the book recited the true recital. And your guy Tabari said there is an opinion that those people are the children of Israel. Not just the Muslims, the children of Israel. And what does it mean that they recited the true recital? They don't distort the words from their places.
So in other words, there are some verses in the Quran that say that they distort the words from their places, and then At-Tabari is saying that there's a group that don't do that.
Yeah.
They don't do that.
حق تلاوته يقرأه كما أنزله الله. He reads it as
Exactly as Allah revealed it.
Allah reveals it. ولا يحرف الكلمة عن مواضعه. And they do not distort it. They doesn't not distort it from their places. And here is your tafsir
One second. Can you go back to that? Can you go back to that slide? I just want to point out. So that's what you have in verses like 5:13, that they're distorting words from their places, moving words from their places, and so on. And what we get from Muslims is this is talking about the corruption of your text, right? And we say, well, it's not clear that that's talking about the corruption of the text. Sounds especially based on other things that the same chapter says and other things the Quran says, sounds like it's just talking about what people are saying, how they're distorting it with their speech. But right here in the commentary, it's applying, read it as Allah revealed it, means without distorting the words from their places. So this is how you're reciting it. You're reciting it without distorting the words. So distorting the words sounds like refers to how you recite it. If you recite it and you distort the words, shame on you. But the fact that people can recite it with the true recitation without distorting it means they have the undistorted text. Because if you're reading a distorted text, then you wouldn't be reading it with the correct recitation. So the fact that there are people who recite it with the true recitation means that the text hasn't been corrupted. If the text had been corrupted, it would be impossible to recite it with the true recitation. The fact that there are people who could still recite it without distorting words from their places means that they didn't have a text that had been altered. They're all reading the same text. Some people recite it and distort words. Other people recite it and don't distort words, which means it's not about the text. It's not about the text being corrupted. So, wow. So just to be clear, this is the commentary he went to.
Correct.
Interesting.
Yeah, he went to a Tabari.
Yeah, and this is Tabari. So like David just said, there has to be an original that people are going back to. Or there are some ignorants who don't know what the Torah looks like, who buy any book that people sell them and tell them a lie, that they just wrote it yesterday in their bedroom or something. But that's not the Torah, because they can only sell it to the ignorance, the Juhal. What does that tell you?
Exactly.
They can't sell it to someone who's seen the Torah before. That tells you it's not the Torah.
And it literally says that. It says that they're writing something that's not the Torah. It's telling you in your face.
Right, but he doesn't know that because he didn't read everything. And he doesn't know what baddala mean, which means the exchange. That means if I don't give you the Quran and I give you a book that I just wrote by my hand, it doesn't mean the Quran is corrupted. It just means I sold you something because you're ignorant and you don't know what the Quran looks like.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Right. So just like what Ibn Uthaymin says. So let's say, okay, you write a book. Okay, we write a book, and let's say we write a book and we say it's the Quran.
Yeah.
Okay, and we give it to Hajji. Oh, well, maybe he wouldn't fit because maybe he's not one of the ignorant ones. But let's say we give it to one of his cousins or something like that, and let's say they're ignorant. So we give it to them and say this is the Quran, but it's not the Quran. Right. Does that now mean that the Quran has been corrupted?
No, it just means we wrote a book.
And we called it the Quran.
And only the ignorant bought it. Both bought it, meaning they believed it and
literally, yeah, exactly.
And then gave me money for it.
Yeah, exactly.
And Razi himself, before you tell us anything, before you say anything, Razi said that this verse about reciting the true recital is about the Jews and the Christians. There's a group of them that do not corrupt anything from the place. They recite it as it ought to be recited.
And in order for them to do that, it has to be in some kind of uncorrupt form at that time.
Yes.
For them to be able to recite it correctly without issue, right?
Yep.
Thank you.
Exactly.
That's it. That's what we mean. That's what we mean, that the text has not been corrupted. Only people messing about writing stuff on their own, or saying it by the mouth. Different. And if just one more for good measure, Surah 3, verse
Nice.
199 says, there are some among the people of the scripture who believe in Allah and what was revealed to you and what was revealed to them. What did it say here?
Wait, both what was revealed to the Muslims and revealed to them, meaning the Torah, the Injil. Okay, yes.
They do not exchange the verses of Allah for a small price. Aha. So they don't go selling some stuff that isn't the Torah for
No.
a small price.
Yeah, and I'm thinking it's actually possible that Bro Hajji has no idea why this is even relevant, because I don't think he actually, I mean, it sounded like he got the Islamic dilemma in the first part of the video, but then as he continued on, I'm like, I don't think he really understands the issues here. So,
Well, that's kind of a question I have, because I actually don't know what stage he's at. Because I think he kind of hints a little bit more right near the end of the video, but I don't know if he thinks that the Torah and the Injil were given to Musa and Isa, and then they were just instantly, poof, corrupt. That's it, they're gone. And he thinks that's fine. Like the Quran has no problem without the Quran, doesn't affirm them in any sense. Or if he thinks it's partial and the Quran is okay with that, and he's never read Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah 2, Ayah 85. I don't know where he's at. Like, it's hard to actually gauge his view.
I think he underestimated how long we spent with this.
Yeah.
Bro Hajji, you overestimated how much you underestimated this.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Look here at his boy Tabari. The same man. Sorry, I actually don't know which one it is. But anyway,
it's one of the two.
One of the two. Either Tabari or Ibn Kathir. I might have made a mistake, but it says here, for these people who do not exchange the verses of Allah for a small price, they do not corrupt what was revealed to them in their books. لا يحرفون ما أنزل إليهم في كتبه. They do not corrupt what was revealed to them in their books. Regarding the description of Muhammad, by substituting it, okay, there's يبدلونه again, nor do they distort any of his rulings and proofs therein for insignificant worldly gain. The worldly gain what? Given for that substitution. يعطونه على ذلك التبديل. So people were giving them money for a substituted book that they wrote for money. That's all. Okay, I'm gonna hand over to Jarai for the next one.
No, this yeah. So I wanted to explain what Al-Tabri's definition. Like, it's good to get his definitions of words, right? Like, if you want to know when someone says something, it's good if they give you an actual definition. Like, what do they mean by that? So for chapter 4, verse 46, and it says, among the Jews are those who distort words from their proper usages. Okay, same exact word that's used, same exact words that are used in 5:13 in chapter 4, verse 46. Al-Tabari tells us what that means in 4:46. Okay, so this is another verse now, but he tells us what that means. What does it mean that they distort words from their proper places, or from their original places? He says that they substitute its meaning and change it from its proper interpretation. Right? From its proper interpretation. So Al-Tabari tells us what he literally defines for us what this means in another passage, in another commentary. Okay? And then let me skip this one. Okay, so now let's go to another book here, because he talked about, I have books. Yeah, we have a couple books ourselves. We have a little books, but maybe not as many books as you, but we have some books. And this is a book from Ibn al-Qayyim, and he talks about a group of Muslim scholars that believe that the Torah is perfectly intact and perfectly preserved. And one of their arguments is this, and this is what we've been getting to this whole time. This is one of their arguments. One of their evidences that they hold to for their position is this, that the Torah has spread across the east and the west of the earth, and spread south and north, and no one knows the number of its copies except Allah. And it is impossible to conspire to substitute and change all of those copies, such that not a single copy remains on earth except one that is substituted and changed according to that same methodology. And this is something that the intellect finds impossible and testifies to its falsity.
Sorry, yeah, that 3199 was Tabari.
This one is still Tabari?
Yeah, it's definitely Tabari.
Okay, we just wanted to correct that real quick.
It's definitely Tabari.
Okay, so this is the evidences from a school of scholars that say that the Torah has never and can never be corrupted or exchanged. Why? And I thought I'd like illustrate it. Maybe this was an easier way to look at it. This is from like a Bible map of the Roman Empire in the 1st century. This is the website here. And I just highlighted some like random places. So imagine if we have a Torah over here, a Torah in Jerusalem, a Torah in Alexandria, a Torah in Rome, etc., right? And now all of a sudden, somewhere here in Arabia, let's say that there's a group of people who have this book that they're claiming is the Torah, and they're, fooling a bunch of ignorant people. How would we determine what is the original Torah versus, what they're saying is the Torah, right? And this is what the group of scholars were saying. And so you might have something that looks like this, okay? We go to Jerusalem, we look at the manuscript there, it says, like, do not murder. Antioch, do not murder. Rome, do not murder. Maybe we go somewhere like Morocco, Fez, it says, don't murder. So it's a little bit of a variant there, but you still get the same image that what is being said, the same command. You go to different parts of the world. Then all of a sudden in Mecca, it says, do murder. Do you think we can determine pretty easily what the original says if we look at all these manuscripts from all these different parts of the world? Don't you see how impossible it is to go to every single part of the world where the Torah is and then corrupt it in the same exact place? Because that's what they're claiming. They're saying that, okay, there were descriptions of Muhammad that they changed, and that there were certain commands that they didn't follow, like this commands for stoning. And there's, so he's saying that that means that they actually corrupted those things. Well, we could easily determine which of those is the corrupted one, if that's actually even true. Do we have any evidence of that at all? Is there any manuscript evidence of what he's talking about?
Nope.
And then they kind of they say a couple more things, but then this is another part here. This continues on now with Ibn al-Qayyim, and he's talking about these scholars, and he says that they said, Allah said to his prophet as an argument against the Jews, say, then bring the Torah and recite it if you are truthful. So to the Jews, bring the Torah and recite it if you're truthful. So then they said, they agreed to abandon the obligation of stoning, but they were not able to change it from the Torah. So when they recited it to the prophet, the reader placed his hand over the verse of stoning. Then Abdullah bin Salam said to him, lift up your hand from the verse of stoning. Okay, now what do the scholars conclude from that? So he lifted his hand, and behold, the verse of stoning was underneath. If they had substituted the words of the Torah, this would have been among the most important things they would have substituted. And then we've done this one a lot, and the famous hadith here. And basically the conclusion is that they, based off chapter 6, verse 115, is that because the Torah is part of Allah's words, and chapter 6, verse 115, and chapter 18, verse 27, also says that none can change or alter his words or substitute his words. They're saying, well, the Torah is part of his words, so it can't be one of those things that can be changed or substituted.
Yep. So basically, this is Bro Hajji. It's not in your classic scholars, if you want to go to Tabari, that they believed that the Torah was actually corrupted. They believe there's a group.
If he's watching, he's like got his mouth open and he's like, oh, there's a lot more stuff than I was expecting from this.
Yeah.
If you're going to go Tabari, Tabari doesn't help you.
Yeah.
Tabari thinks there's a book that was written that was claimed to be the Torah and it wasn't. That doesn't mean anything. And he claims that there are good groups of people of the book. Surah 2, verse 121, and Surah 3, verse 191. Verse 199. All Tabari talking about how they substituted it for a price. And there are some group that don't do that. They recite it correctly. They don't change anything, and they don't sell it for a price. And they don't tell people that a wrong book is Allah's words.
And then you have this whole group of scholars here, this whole class of scholars that Ibn al-Qayyim notes. And this is exactly the point that we're making the whole time, that it would be impossible to do what he's suggesting was done. So anyway, that's what we wanted to present. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for listening to us.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and here's what's here's what's really awesome. So in the clip he was responding to, 513, that's a Muslim argument. We respond to the Muslim argument by showing that their interpretation makes no sense. Of their interpretation of 513, if they're saying this is referring to the corruption of the text, makes no sense. And then so they do what they're kind of trained to do. But go to the commentary. So DOC went to the commentary that the Muslim brought up, and it did not agree with the Muslim. Then Brother Hajji responds. He pretends like he's answering what Ibn Kathir said, but he doesn't. He just ignores it and pretends to be responding to DOC. Instead, he went to Tabari, and what just happened, guys? He just got buried by Tabari. And the amazing part is we didn't even go through the Quran. We didn't go through what the Quran said. He is not even familiar with what a basic case for the Islamic dilemma still looks like. He doesn't know. We didn't really go through the Quran. We've brought up a couple of verses, but mainly it's been an issue of commentaries to show that even the commentaries present a huge problem for him. So he still hasn't seen the Islamic dilemma in all its Islam destroying glory. But we're happy to have that conversation with you, Brother Hajji. Happy to take you through what the Quran says verse by verse and let you explain how Allah, for some reason, means the exact opposite of what he says in his book. Love to hear you try to explain why Allah means the exact opposite of what he says. It sounds weird to us. It sounds weird because we still think that what Allah says is what he means. I mean, he brags throughout the Quran about how clear his book is. So we assume that when he's talking about our book, he's speaking clearly. But we read it and it's, wow, this is affirming our book. This is telling us to judge by our book. This is saying we have the book, and he's affirming what we have. He's commanding us to judge by it. He's saying we're reading it. This is the opposite of what Muslims tell us. And then they say, no, it's not. Allah means the opposite of what he says, and that just sounds real weird to us. So we would love to have you explain that for us. So he did go to, it's just hilarious. He went to Tabari to respond to 513, and then he seemed to think that the passage in Tabari, where it's talking about writing it with our hands, is taken from 513. No, that's from 279. I just before we head out, wanted to give him an idea ahead of time so we don't catch him off guard when we have our discussion. Just so that we don't catch him off guard, present a little problem for you. So we just saw one. As a matter of fact, here. This is pretty straightforward. 279. Woe to those who write the book with their own hand and say this is from Allah. And you went to a commentary that applies that and so on. And And Giant DOC pointed out it would make absolutely zero sense to think that someone in Arabia, some Jew corrupting a copy of the Torah. One, that's not what that verse is saying. But even if you granted, yes, it's saying that someone corrupted a copy of the Torah. What would that? The Torah is all over the place. Someone changing the Torah in Arabia would not change it in Rome. It wouldn't change it in Egypt. It wouldn't change it in all these other places. So it makes no sense to say, yeah, that's talking about the Torah being corrupted. And just to illustrate, looky here. So I wrote something and said, this is the Quran. Jesus is Lord. So I wrote something claiming that it's the book of Allah, the Quran. And I'm giving a message that is different from what the Quran says. So I wrote something with my hand and I said, this is from Allah. Does that mean the Quran has been corrupted? Like, completely serious question, Hajji. And this is the problem that we see from all the Dawah guys. When we use your exact same argument against the Quran, suddenly you turn your reasoning ability on and you realize what a stupid argument that is. Suddenly, if I said, Brother Hajji, I just wrote something with my own hand. I wrote something with my own hand and I'm saying it's the Quran. Does this mean that the Quran has been corrupted? There's not a single Muslim on the planet who would not instantly see how insane and stupid that argument is. Me writing something does not change one, that what I just did didn't change any copy of the Quran. Two, even if I actually wrote this into a copy of the Quran, it would not change Qurans around the world. So on what planet have I changed the Quran or corrupted the Quran? Why is this relevant? Well, you've got one verse that you go to, 279. Woe to those who write the book with their own hand and say this is from Allah. You see, this is talking about some people and they corrupted. This means that the Torah has been corrupted. So someone writing something like this means that the book's been corrupted, right? How do you guys not get this? This is what we're wondering. How would you regard that as if we use that argument against the Quran, how would you instantly recognize that as the stupidest argument ever offered by anyone ever? But then you'll turn around and use what you would regard as the stupidest argument by anyone ever, and you'll use that argument as your main argument that the Quran is affirming the corruption of the Bible. It's because you're just forcing your view into that, and that's what you're doing that because you have to. You have nowhere else to go. You're forced into this.
Exactly that. Brother Hajji, sorry. This is you went to the best verse you have, basically, Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah 279. And that is a terrible verse to try and prove that anything of the previous scriptures has been corrupted in any real sense at all. Not only that, but everywhere else you go is only downhill from there. So you've already kind of done the best you can do, and you're just going to get into this really depressing, dark, faith-questioning point when you look at the Quran and you think, oh, Allah, who supposedly sent this Quran, yeah, he actually really does think the Torah and the Injil are the gold standard. Allah, you think Allah sent the Quran. Allah loves the Injil and Torah. It's his favorite things. He absolutely loves the Torah and the Injil. And you're going to see that, and it's going to come more and more obvious to you as you keep reading. In all honesty, and that's what I'm doing now. That's what I'm doing, reading the Quran and just noticing it for myself. Holistically, the Quran assumes the validity of the scriptures 100%. It questions people's interpretations. It questions what people say with their tongues. It says that, look, they don't have real knowledge from Allah. They speak without any actual knowledge. They speak only of what their forefathers have told them. But in terms of the actual book, the actual scripture itself, which is mentioned in the Quran, it's good as gold. And I hope with the Hajji, you come to realize this as you sincerely look at this in the Quran, and hopefully as you have a discussion with us. Because we could go through this. We could do it in a nice, calm, relaxed manner. And if our position is weak, then you can show that very clearly to us. But if it's something that might be of interest to you and might show you that actually maybe this Injil is a lot more profound and interesting and closer to the truth than I previously thought, we'd welcome that as well.
Yes, we would. And again, just so that we're not catching Brother Hajji off guard when we have this discussion, Brother Hajji, if you come with Tabari and he's using 279, then we're going to go to 279 and we're going to show you what it actually says. But just as importantly, we're going to show you the context. So again, just so you know ahead of time, so that you can prepare. What we would do if you quote 279 is we'd want to go to verses earlier in the chapter for context and later in the chapter for context and see if your interpretation makes sense in light of context, right? So just look at this real quick. I'll read this quickly, just so you know it. We won't really discuss it, but want you to be aware of it so that we can discuss it when you join us live. O children of Israel, start at verse 40 there. So same chapter you're quoting, but apparently didn't realize what you're quoting. O children of Israel, call to mind my favor which I bestowed on you, and be faithful to your covenant with me. I will fulfill my covenant with you. And of me alone should you be afraid. Already, how are they going to remain faithful to the covenant if they have a corrupted book that gives them the wrong covenant? And believe in what I have revealed, verifying that which is with you. Did you catch that? Believe in what I have revealed, the Quran, verifying that which is with you. The Quran verifies what is with them. Now, that's very strange if what they have has been corrupted. Why would the Quran verify their corruption? And be not the first to deny it, neither take a mean price in exchange for my communications, and me alone should you fear. And do not mix up the truth with falsehood, nor hide the truth while you know it. Notice there, it says they know the truth. They know the truth. If they had a corrupt book, they would think they have the truth and they'd be wrong, right? And keep up prayer and pay the poor rate and bow down with those who bow down. What? Do you enjoin men to be good and neglect your own souls while you read the book? Have you then no sense? Sounds like it's affirming the book that they have. Why? Well, he says he's talking about the book and that they read the book. And what's he says? He says in verse 41 that his book, the Quran, is verifying what is with them. What's with them? He says it. He says it's talking about the book they read. Very strange if what they have is a corrupt book. Why would Allah be verifying a corrupt book? So that's in Surah 2. And then you get to the one you cited without realizing where it's from, 279. Woe then to those who write the book with their hands and then say this is from Allah, so that they may take for it a small price. Therefore, woe to them for what their hands have written, and woe to them for what they earn. You see, the Bible's been corrupted. It's been corrupted. Well, why does he say earlier in the same chapter that it's not? And if verse 79 is saying that the Bible has been corrupted, why does he say just 6 verses later? See that 279 there, Brother Hajji? One of the main things we're going to ask you is, if you're saying that means the Bible's been corrupted, why does he say just 6 verses later, verse 85, talking about the Jews who weren't following certain things that the Torah says? Let's read it. Yet it is you who slay your people. Not supposed to do that. And turn a party from among you out of their homes. Not supposed to do that according to the Torah. Backing each other up against them unlawfully and exceeding the limits. And if they should come to you as captives, meaning your fellow Jews who are captives, as captives, you would ransom them, while their very turning out was unlawful for you. What's he saying? He's saying you're following parts of your book and not following parts of your book. Now, what's the criticism here? He says, do you then believe in a part of the book and disbelieve in the other? You catch that? He says, do you only believe in parts of your book? Brother Hajji, don't you think that Jews should only believe in parts of their book and that Christians should only believe in parts of our book? What does Allah say here? Do you then believe in a part of the book and disbelieve in the other? What then is the reward of such among you as do this, but disgrace in the life of this world, and on the day of resurrection they shall be sent to the most grievous chastisement, and Allah is not at all heedless of what you do. Allah says if you only believe in parts of the book and don't believe in the rest of it, he's going to send you to hell. So, Brother Hajji, please explain to us, if Allah is saying in verse 79, Jews, you have a corrupt book. You wrote a book and it's been corrupted. It's been corrupted. If it's been corrupted, what are they supposed to do? They're only supposed to believe in parts that haven't been corrupted, right? If that's what Allah means in verse 79, why would he say just 6 verses later, if you only believe in parts of your book, I'll send you to hell? I repeat, Brother Hajji, this is not difficult. If he's saying in verse 79, only parts of your book should still be trusted because the rest has been corrupted, why in the name of common sense would he say 6 verses later, you'd better believe in all of your book. If you don't, I'll send you to hell. That's the point. Your interpretation of 279 makes 0 sense of what the rest of the chapter says. And we could go on. Because look, verse 89, and when there came to them a book from Allah verifying that which they have, but according to you, Brother Hajji, what they have is something corrupted. So why would Allah verify what they have when what they have has been corrupted? You catching this? Verse 91, and when it is said to them, believe in what Allah has revealed, they say, we believe in that which was revealed to us, and they deny what is besides that, while it is the truth verifying that which they have. It just keeps saying it over and over again, that Allah is verifying the previous scriptures, and you say, nope. 279 say it's been corrupted, and your interpretation makes absolutely no sense. So those are the things that we would do. We would want to go through the various interpretations of 279 that do not agree with what you've said, and we'd go to the context of Surah 2, verse 79. We'd go to the context, the immediate context in the same chapter, and we'd go to the rest of the Quran. None of it's going to agree with you, buddy. None of it. So look forward to having this discussion. All right, guys, anything else?
I think that's it from
Yeah,
me.
I think that covers it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how he's gonna come back from that.
But please do, Brother Hajji. Please
Yeah,
do.
please
Because
do.
I genuinely would like to have your thoughts on this more. And I would, relish the chance to have a dialogue about it.
Oh, actually, there were a couple more super chats. Let's go these before we head out. Suko says, "Thank you guys." Yep, thank you. Giant DOC, is the Arab word for grapes similar to virgins? Someone told me the reward originally was grapes for jihad martyrs. As I've always understand that point, it's they're taking a word that's ultimately from Syriac, and that means raisins or something like that, and that's where Muhammad's sort of getting the word from, but he doesn't understand, and he thinks it's talking about virgins or something like that. Is that what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, no, you're right. There's a clear distinction in Arabic. You wouldn't confuse it in Arabic, but the argument is that in some like original, Syriac Aramaic form, in theory, you could read it another way to where it's not. But I don't think that would make sense in the context. But yeah, that is the argument.
The word for grapes actually comes in the Quran.
Like the Arabic word.
The Arabic word, anab, grapes. You find it in surah, in many surahs, one of which is surah 16, verse 67. And we do know that means grapes because it says you make wine out of it.
Right.
Surah An-Nahl, the surah of the bees.
16, yeah.
Yeah, surah 16, verse 67. I don't agree with this trying to make Syriac like Arabic because it isn't. I would warn you and be very careful with these words. If you want to know, get an Arabic dictionary, English Arabic dictionary, or find one online that is authoritative. Don't just go because someone told you.
Yeah, so Bumpy Road, sounds like you talked to someone who's trying to defend Islam, and they're saying, no, because it would be used as a criticism. Hey, what's this religion that's telling people, hey, go blow yourselves up and you'll get all these virgins in paradise and so on? And sounds like you're talking to someone who heard this, who heard this response. No. It's only talking about grapes or raisins or something like that. That's the reward. So problem one, you could just go to the grocery store and get some grapes or raisins. So you wouldn't need to blow yourself up or do any of that stuff. Two, is that really you really want to blow yourself up for some grapes or raisins? But three, it's clear that they're talking about these in terms of sexual partners. It's very clear. It talks about them having budding breasts and things like this, and you're marrying them, you're having sex with them, and so on. It's clear that in Islam, this is not talking about grapes. The claim is that they're drawing from things that they heard, and in earlier Syriac works, it's talking about the grapes in paradise or something like this, and that when the Arabs hear this, they think it's talking about virgins and they adopt the word, but it's clear Muhammad and his followers are using this to refer to sexual partners, not to grapes or raisins. So
also, nobody would blow themselves up for some grapes. Just saying.
Unless they're really, really awesome grapes. I'm talking like really, really good ones. Behind the veil, Muslim would make a good Christian. Yeah, it seems like a pretty good dude. Pretty good dude. So, Salman, if you ever want to have a live stream and talk about Christianity and Islam, happy to do it. We respect you a lot more than we respect any of the Dawah guys we're responding to.
Doing great
I
work.
think that, sorry, was that, go ahead, Chris?
No, I was just saying, Salman, you're doing great work,
Yeah,
I'm
right.
always reassured, positive on anyone, really. It doesn't matter if they're Muslim or not, but if they call out the Dawah guys for some of the terrible stuff they get up to, yeah, you have my support on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I suggested to him, and maybe in your next stream, David, you can make this suggestion to him, because he'll probably watch that stream. Is that if he does have this Dawah Epstein list or a Dawah Diddy list, and it's like he could be potentially in danger, So I think that what he should do is send it to you, to David, and so if anything happens to him,
we have the Diddy list.
Yeah, so if he disappears, then you'll know, hey, release it at this date or something.
Yeah, I could be sitting here. I have the Diddy list here. I have the Diddy list.
I will release it.
Yeah. I will release. If any harm, what he really needs is something even worse. that would be used as a threat to never harm him or something like that. Like if I'm, especially if I have it, I'm like, I've got something here even worse than the Diddy list. And if any harm ever comes to Salman, I will post it everywhere. That's what I do.
Exactly.
Let's see. Ground Zero says, God bless all. I have a question. God is all knowing, out of time. He sees all, the beginning and the end. Whoever is saved and is not, whoever chooses the Lord or not. With this info, be done with it all. Why delay? Why be done with it all? Why? So what? We don't have a life? He just skips it all?
That's not where I was expecting that question to go.
Yeah, he should just end it all since he already knows what will happen. Well, how would he even know it's going to happen if he's going to end it? Like, I don't even understand. Yeah, you seem to be getting fixated on a weird kind of issue here. And by the way, so yeah, keep in mind, you don't have to think of it for him. Like, yes, he could do what he wants. He could skip to the end and so on. I happen to like life and so on. So I'm glad I'm getting to live my life. I mean, think about this. It'd be like saying, hey, you know what? I know my son's going to die. So why not just skip to the end and not have him? Or like, what? Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
It's something weird about that, right? Here's my jizya. Thank you. Can you put the game on? Oh yeah, I wanted to ask you about the game, but it's sort of a different thing. But should we do something one day when we're going through the game? I wanted AP to. Matter of fact, it would probably since AP's better using his software, it'd probably be better to go through it on his channel where he's using StreamYard better than I use.
I think that would be good. Yeah. Hopefully, well, you should find it. Well, I hope you guys would really like it. I had a lot of fun making it, so. Yeah, just for anyone who wonders what we're talking about, I made a little Mubahala game where you challenge different apologists, Christian and Muslim, to Mubahala, and then Allah judges your Mubahala, and he sends down lightning bolts on whoever has the best Mubahala, basically. No, whoever has the worst Mubahala. But yeah, I'd love to see you guys play it.
Yeah, cool. Jump on you, me, and AP, and anyone else you want. Well, I'll jump on and play the game and show everyone the game.
Nice. It's a fun game. We reviewed it, and it was really fun. We had a lot of fun with it. And we played David, one of the characters.
Yeah, you were David. One of the characters there.
Yeah. And you won.
Your voice was spot on.
Of course I do. It's all I do. Let's see. Drew says they're just trying to keep people from the true gospel and way better lifestyle that leads to God, not a brothel in the sky. Yeah, that's what the demonic forces are trying to do. Hopefully we can help these guys. Honestly, I don't know much more. I don't know how much more we can break it down for the Muslims. The Quran has been changed. Therefore, due to what the Quran itself said, the Quran is false. Without lies, Islam dies. Yeah, in any meaningful sense that they want to talk about textual variants and so on, and want to say that sort of thing has been corrupted. Well, great. Then your Quran has been corrupted. Anyway, they're in a really weird, awkward situation, and as far as how you don't know how much more we can break it down, yeah, that's the main issue. Is we have to keep breaking it down because the vast majority of Muslims still don't know about it, and even when they hear about it, they don't sit down. Most of them, vast majority, don't sit down and listen to our full presentation on the Islamic dilemma. They hear about it, they see one point, they go to their dawah guy, and he dismisses it. This is so stupid. Only stupid people think. Yeah, 279. They think, that's the answer. So. This is why everyone needs to learn it. Christians across the board need to learn this argument and be using it. It's like everything else, guys. If a few people know an argument, the vast majority of Muslims aren't paying attention to it, their guys can get away with sort of just flippantly ignoring it. This is a stupid argument. Pay no attention to it. They can get away with that. If tons of people know about it and are using it and are bombarding them with it, they can't get away with that. So that's why we have to keep addressing it over and over again, responding to everything they put out so that Muslims actually get the point and realize the problem. All right, guys, any final thoughts or anything you guys got coming up or anything you want to direct anyone towards?
We are, I think we're doing a 10K special stream this week. It's going to be hopefully Friday or Saturday. So yeah, if you guys want to check that out, we're going to have some people call in and give some testimonies and stuff. So yeah. So that's what we got going on. A couple other things this week, but I think that's one of the main highlights. But yeah, always excited to come on here and talk about the Islamic dilemma and see the Muslims trying their bestest to answer it, and they can never quite do the job.
It is adorable. It's like watching a kid try to learn to walk or something like this and falling over and gets back up. But you just keeps getting back up and falling over and so on.
It's a nice break from Sajid Lipman, you know. I think that's a good positive thing.
All right, Chris, anything you want to tell everyone?
So I am doing a deep dive in Islamic dilemma stuff just all over the board. I've been on lots of different live streams with different small channels. I happened to bump into a YouTube channel that did a 12-hour live stream. Actually, it was more than 12 hours, where the majority of it, at least, was about the Islamic dilemma.
Awesome.
And there was another channel as well. They were doing the Islamic dilemma, and I thought, this is great. Like, we're having all these Christian channels popping up talking about the Islamic dilemma, and this is amazing. So yeah, for me, it's continuing with that. I'll probably be responding to Dean even more, because it's always good to. I mean, Dean's doing the best he can with the very little he has, and I respect that. So I'm going to be doing more responses to him.
And that's awesome. And yeah, guys, at the end of the day, we need to be relentless in going after this. That's how it happens. And I pointed out before, guys, you have no idea how good you have it nowadays. All you young guys who are 20 years old and coming along and looking at all this, looking at the world around you and so on, looking at the dawah scene, you have no idea how awesome this is compared to like 20 years ago when there was a couple people, and back then you got called a liar for everything. You could quote stuff directly from the Quran or Hadith, and all the dawah guys back then would just call you a liar, and people would dismiss you and not pay any attention. And what happened? What happened over time? Back then, we would point out, hey, Muhammad had sex with a 9-year-old girl. We point that out in response to them saying Muhammad, his character is perfect. So we bring that up. Well, how's he got perfect character if this is what he did? And what would happen? They would lie. They would say, no, this is a lie. What happened? We kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And finally, they had to say, oh, yes, there are some sources that say she was 9, but there are all these other sources that say she was 18. And so what happened? We keep pushing and pushing. Show us any of those sources. Show us the source saying that she was 18. Show us. And then eventually they get to the point where they have to start defending it, and now they just shout it from the rooftops. The things they called us a liar for back then, they acknowledge almost across the board, they acknowledge it's true. Same thing with the death penalty for Islam. In 2005, if you said there's a death penalty for apostasy in Islam, they'd call you a liar. Liar, 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 liar. And then what happened? We have to keep pushing it. Now they shout it from the rooftops. Of course, we're going to kill you. We're going to kill the apostates. They shout it from the rooftops now. Change, sadly, in this change in the Islamic world has to come from outside. It has to be outside pressure, making them acknowledge what their sources say. And the Islamic dilemma is just the latest installment in that never-ending series of them denying what their own sources say and us pushing it. But this one is different in that if you get them to acknowledge this, Islam comes crashing to the ground. See, you can get them to acknowledge Muhammad had sex with a 9-year-old girl. That does not destroy Islam. It would make lots of people go, I want nothing to do with Islam. But it doesn't. If you believe that, you just say, okay, I believe that Muhammad had sex with a 9-year-old girl. Once they grant what the Quran says about the Bible, different story. Islam is cooked. Final super chat. David, can you ask Shamoon to unblock me and forgive me? Just kidding. I'm glad you're kidding, because there was no scenario where Sam, will you forgive this person? All right, everyone. So check out. Everyone should be following Jai and DOC and Chris the Speaker's Corner. And I will be live again in an hour and a half with Hatun and Thaddeus and anyone else who wants to jump in. But we'll be going through the Behind Veils video. We knew more was coming, but my goodness, this is crazy stuff. We knew more was coming. Just thought it was going to be more stuff on Ali Dawah and his hotel wife. Instead, it just shows you how deep the dysfunction goes. Dawah is rotten to its. I don't mean Ali Dawah. I mean, although him too, but Dawah is rotten to its core and massively dysfunctional, and we're about to see that.
Release the list.
Release the
Hashtag release the list.
Release the Dawah Diddy list. Oh, I need to put that on the I need to add that to the thumbnail. Release the Dawa Diddy list.
Yeah,
I'm going to start saying that. All right, guys. See everyone in about an hour and a half when we're going through some really, really crazy stuff. And you'll want to be sharing that everywhere. Catch y'all next time.